Ellen's food for the soul. This is On the Block with Strick and Nate.
Welcome into On the Block. The boys are officially back in town. The water cooler reunited once again. Eric Strickland, he is out for the day. He's having a little bit of fun over there in New York. He saw the Cowboys and Giants last night. Pretty good game, pretty interesting. Cowboys come out on top after a CeeDee Lamb one-handed catch in the end zone. That helped out my fantasy team. Probably helped out some of you as well. But the water cooler is back.
I didn't know he was in New York. See,
He's in New York.
I didn't even keep up on the Monday Night Football game. I just figured he went to Dallas because he always goes back to Dallas. So I just figured it was in Dallas. But he played in New York, too. He's got some connections out there.
He's got some connections. I think he said he was with some buddies from Nebraska, too. And I'm like, so he just got a bunch of guys from Nebraska and went out and saw the Cowboys and Giants. There could be worse games to watch, that's for sure. 402-464-5685, Honda of Lincoln Hotline, Starter Heyman text line. As always, guys, we want to hear from you. You can also check us out, see what's going on here in studio, Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, and Twitter. If you head over to YouTube, we have officially hit 2,000 subscribers.
Woo!
That means we're looking for 3,000 now. Tell your mom, tell your dad, tell your friend, tell your cousin, tell your uncles, cousins, aunts, best friend to go ahead and subscribe to 93.7 The Ticket, Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, and Twitter. 402-464-5685. We got an EAS test on this one, Box, so it's going to be a little bit of a shorter segment. We got a lot to talk about. So, again, make sure you guys are texting in 402-464-5685. First and foremost, I want to start out with this because we're going to dive into Indiana. We're going to dive into the rest of the Big Ten because I think that's kind of the discussion of the day, especially we heard Mickey talk. A lot of guys from across sports were talking today.
Everybody was
basically anybody.
Where was Will Bolt today? I didn't hear from Will Bolt.
They're getting ready. I think they have an exhibition this weekend.
Did they already?
Yeah, I think they had one last weekend. I can't remember. I think they played UNO. I'm not entirely sure. But that's besides the point. We still appreciate Will Bolt. We still love him. We'll hear from him later this offseason, that's for sure. But the Big Ten, Nebraska versus Indiana, the big talk. Me and Rico were getting into it a little bit too. But first, I want to take a step back because I want to talk about this once. I want to get it over with, and then I want to move on. I watched this weekend Georgia Southern fall, Northwestern fall to the third straight opponent that was far inferior to them. And it begs the question, and I'm wondering where you're at. Does this make you feel worse about the direction of the season, or is this more that's in the past, Frost regime, a lot of things were going on, it's time to move on? Or are you looking at this as, oh my gosh, it just gets worse? Because I think fans are kind of split in between.
Well, for what it's worth, it's not like Georgia Southern's having an awful season. They're 3-1 still. Kyle Van Treese isn't throwing for 450 on everybody, but he's still doing
Ryan Helinski certainly has to
Ryan
throw
Helinski's struggling.
350 or whatever.
I don't know. I kind of see it as maybe the harsh realization that Nebraska fans needed. I mean, they're as crazy it is to me, and we've had our offseason discussions. There are still people that, I mean, when Frost was fired, to say that's not fair that he didn't get enough of a chance.
There were very few.
There were signs in Lincoln, but you're right. But for just that very few, at least this, I mean, some of this stuff has to become clear. Northwestern's not a good football team.
No.
Georgia Southern might be okay for where they're at, especially considering it's Clay Helton's first year. Honestly, give them props for where they're at, but that just can't happen. And so I think, and then you see the Adrian stuff at Kansas State. He gets his biggest win.
You were going to bring that up.
Well, it's part of the discussion. He's played 4 games at Kansas State, and he's got a bigger career win than he ever had at Nebraska. In 4 years starting. So all that stuff's got to play into the fact that this, I mean, I think it provides you context with where Nebraska football is, the challenges that lie ahead for Mickey Joseph, the challenges that lie ahead for Mickey or whoever it is next season. So it is. I think it's kind of good to kind of wake up to that, but it's nothing that honestly feels too good as a Husker football fan. The only thing that makes me feel okay is that Colorado is worse. Somehow there's a worse program out there, but that's where Nebraska is right now. And that's the challenge that lies in front of Mickey. But I think it's kind of good to see that that's where it's at, because all these close losses and all this other stuff, it made you feel like Nebraska was just a little, they were close. They just needed a little extra push. Now it's kind of opening up to, man, maybe that there's still some truth to that, and they can get it rolling against Indiana. But I think it's good to get some clarity that what happened. I mean, it just you can't stand for it anymore.
Because I think that was the big discussion too afterwards. A lot of people were saying, well, we don't know what we're going to get from Northwestern. Pat Fitzgerald's done this before. And it was kind of all of us were going, okay, let's pump the brakes a little bit. This is not a good football team. And for what it's worth, too, we can dive into the Adrian Martinez saga a little bit, too, because I know we always love having that conversation. I don't think this game, listen, I think more than anything, it just proves what Adrian was. There were flashes where you said, oh my gosh, that kid is going to lead Nebraska to the promised land, whatever you may define the promised land. At this point, the promised land is probably 7 wins. For crying
a bowl
out loud.
game, really.
Right. And it was like, okay, like, we're going to get back on track. This kid's going to do it. But then you have games like Adrian Martinez where he almost lost to Tulane.
Well, they did lose.
Lose to Tulane at home. So that's just part of the Adrian Martinez experience. And we can talk about how great the Oklahoma game was, and it was the biggest win of his career by far. And that's the thing, too, is I want to make sure that everyone realizes I'm applauding Adrian. Good for him. It seems like he is in the perfect situation for Adrian. He is at a program that appreciates what he does, that uses his skill set to the best of his ability. I applaud him for that. It was a great win against Oklahoma, and it was on the road, which is pretty impressive for Norman.
Night game in Norman.
But at the same time, like, we can't forget that Adrian Martinez, before that Oklahoma game, there was rumors he was going to get benched.
Yeah.
Like, I understand a lot of Husker fans, like, we live in the moment and we have recency bias. But for everyone saying, oh my gosh, look at Adrian, like, look at how great he's doing. Yes, he's doing great. He is on a ranked football team that just knocked off the 6th ranked team in the country that beat the hell out of Nebraska. I understand all that. I'm happy for him. But at the same time, he lost to Tulane, and his quarterback rating was so abysmal he almost got benched.
Yeah, and he's still
with a grain of salt.
He still only has 2 passing touchdowns on the year. Obviously, 4 rushing touchdowns against Oklahoma, and was the Davey O'Brien Player of the Week. That doesn't change the fact that if he was at Nebraska for round 5, it would probably be something similar to what it is now. Of course, the defense is much more the problem than with what. I mean, maybe because of the matchup and what you saw against Oklahoma. He could have kept that game closer, but we know what the story is with the Frost-Adrian pairing. I don't feel like we have to go back there, but it does kind of, for those that were just always, it doesn't have to be one or the other. The pairing didn't work. Right. But if you absolutely have to split hairs and say it was either Frost or Martinez, you let the games speak for themselves. Frost doesn't, you say Martinez almost got benched. Frost doesn't have a job. And Martinez is again the Player of the Week. So, I don't, sometimes it's fun to create your own narratives and run with predictions and stuff like that. But part of our job is just to tell the story that happened. And the story that happened is that Adrian Martinez capitalized on his opportunity for another year, found a better spot. All that offseason talk, having a more talented team and all that stuff, it's playing out. So, I don't think there's much hatred for most fans from Adrian. There are people that maybe think he's a traitor or think that he, left or whatever. I think for most people, I think you have to understand some change needed to happen for the sell of year 5 to be different. I still don't completely agree with it, but it got me intrigued enough that I thought, okay, maybe we can run through it. It hasn't worked out too well so far. And so it just kind of is what it is. But I mean, cheers to Adrian for what he's been able to do. I can't wait to see. I mean, I'll continue to cheer for him. And I think a lot of Nebraska fans are kind of living vicariously to see him and Cade Warner out there doing their thing. Obviously, it didn't work out at Nebraska, but you like to see some semblance of success for somebody with the program. Right. Hopefully it's a little too much success for my liking.
No, we don't want that much.
That's too much.
Take it back.
That hurts too much. But hopefully that can, change this weekend once you beat Indiana. But I mean, my God, Nebraska fans need something to cheer for. This is almost a year now since they've beaten an FBS opponent. And you have to go back to 2020,
October
2nd of last year, but you have to go back to October before that. Outside of one victory against Northwestern, it's been since, the end of 2020 since you've beat a Power 5 opponent. That's
And
it's
text line tells
hard.
us it's Rutgers. It was
Rutgers was that last one, yeah. Besides Northwestern, so even that, just think of that. Your last 2 victories against FBS, or the last 2 seasons.
Now, before that, I believe it was Minnesota. Was it Minnesota? Who
I
don't want to be.
Probably not.
I don't want to be the guy who cried wolf here, but Minnesota might be the best team in the country. I'm just saying.
Well,
Minnesota is ridiculous.
between them and Kansas, I don't know. It's tough.
Yeah, ranked Kansas. We are a
Yeah, that's
pro-ranked
right.
Kansas radio station. Texter's got jokes. To be fair, we had softened Oklahoma up with our physical style of play.
That's right.
So that's how you want to.
We didn't beat Minnesota in 2020, by the way.
When was it? They beat Minnesota because
They beat
Frost
Minnesota
was
in
1-3.
2018.
Was
Yeah.
1-3.
Yeah, that was the first year that they beat them. So the last victory outside that would have been Purdue, the Purdue game.
Oh, they no Cotto?
I don't know. I can't remember.
It
2020.
would have been David Blau.
Well, they were 2-4 that year, so it's not like it was a very good team. Bob Diaco was their defensive coordinator.
Oh, nice. That'll make you feel old. That was a
That
long
makes you
time
feel
ago.
weird. Yeah.
That does make you feel a little bit weird. Dusty says Adrian is also on a K-State team with a bunch of average guys that play hard. It's not like he has several great receivers. He's good. I think there's something to be said for that too. Like Kansas State, I don't know if that's culture, mentality, coaching, but Kansas State, for crying out loud, recruits usually on par, if not worse than Nebraska.
Oh yeah.
And those guys were playing to win that game. I mean, they were flying around the field, and they had the same issues that Nebraska had. Like, there were times the offensive line didn't hold up. There was times that they missed tackles, but every single play they were playing with intensity, and they were playing hard.
And I'll tell you this, I was pretty much
it was crazy. It was crazy.
Cheering for Adrian Martinez. I was still holding my breath just about every time he passed the ball. So it's
right.
not like he's a refined NFL quarterback prospect now.
Yeah.
And as we've said with Logan Smothers' game plan against Iowa last year, he also can't. That's not a sustainable game plan. They can't run Adrian 21 times in Big 10 play or Big 12 play every game in and game out and get that same result. So they're going to have to find a different combination that works sustainably, but they got their team into the top 25, and whether it's Kansas State, why are Lance Leipold and Chris Kleiman and Matt Campbell all kind of in this group of the front runners? At least national media kind of puts them in that group because they've been in the Midwest and they've been developing players at a worse rate, like you said, in recruiting classes than Nebraska. That's what Nebraska's been missing for years is they recruit basically the 25th ranked class in the country, and yet they're not on par with that when the end of the season comes. Meanwhile, Kansas State, Iowa State, they recruit near the 45th or 50th, ranked recruiting class in the nation, and they can turn around and get top 25 teams. That's more than anything. Player development has been, and that's easy to just kind of throw out there as a blanket statement. And a big problem to identify. It's hard to get that going again, but that's why I think you need a proven guy that's been able to do that. If you're looking into the future, that or have Mickey show you that he can do that. If Mickey does that, he's been handed an absolute mess. I feel somewhat bad for him, but if he can somehow turn this thing around,
if he can salvage this,
then he's and develop some of these guys throughout this season, being handed the he's got a new defensive coordinator this week. It's a lot to ask, but I mean that's what he said today. It's his resume, his tryout is right now. He's got 8 games to show it.
Now, for what it's worth, though, you mentioned Iowa. Honestly, I don't know if I'll go that far. I would rather watch a Nebraska football game and be disappointed at the end of the game than watch Iowa football.
Oh no!
Oh my God! I know you're going to disagree with me. I honestly I tried watching the Iowa State game. I couldn't do it. I shut it off.
It was so good.
I swear to you, I shut it off. I cannot watch Iowa play football. It makes me cringe.
What are you not?
Spencer Petras is terrible.
The offense is
he's awful.
A bit tough to watch. But
tough to watch.
You've got for sure in an Iowa football game. This is crazy. I don't know how they do this, but for sure a defensive touchdown every game. It's incredible. I love watching it.
I hate it. Honestly, there are very few things on this earth worse than Iowa football.
You get at least 1 defensive touchdown and at least 14 punts.
Yeah.
Leading
punter
flipping the field the entire game. The entire game.
So many punts. So many. Okay.
Many punts.
Yeah.
All right, there you
So
go.
long.
I can't. I would probably rather be in Kansas State's position. Like, I genuinely would rather just be disappointed every week to watch Iowa football. It's like UVA basketball. I can't stand UVA basketball.
Oh yeah,
either.
slowing it down.
My gosh, it's
not putting
terrible.
on many points.
And they score 45 points a game and win.
Yeah,
They'll win like 45-38. I'm like, what are they playing at the rec center? Like, what the hell is
that's
this?
some good coaching right
It's
there.
just no. Trust me, Tony Bennett's a great coach. I would take him in a heartbeat. I think any team in the country would take him in a heartbeat. We're gonna get into it here in the next segment. I know we got to go to an EAS here in a second. But I wanted to know if you knew this, Bach. As it currently stands, Nebraska is a 6-point favorite over Indiana.
Jeez, 6 points now.
6 points.
My goodness.
I just want you. I want everyone to let that sink in.
Marinating that a little bit. Really?
I want everyone to let that sink in. That despite everything that has happened to Nebraska so far this season, sitting at probably the most disastrous scenario outside of losing to North Dakota, which was never going to happen. Like, everyone says there's no way they're going to lose Georgia Southern. Well, so Georgia Southern is a terrible football team. Losing to North Dakota would be disastrous.
Yeah, it's
like,
pretty
it would be
going into
no.
Going into the fourth quarter.
They almost covered the spread.
Happen.
They almost covered the spread.
Yeah,
they almost covered the spread. It was, and I know it was scary. Nebraska fans were. I left the stadium because I said if somehow North Dakota wins, I don't want to be here for it.
Oh, you do want to be there for
no,
that.
No.
Yes.
No.
That's exactly.
I
what
have
want to
no
be there.
desire to be in that stadium when Nebraska loses North Dakota. Luckily, it didn't happen. About disastrous as it could go. And this is what we're going to talk about after the break, after we get in on the other end. So make sure you stick with us. Nebraska is still 0-1 in the Big Ten. And they are now 6-point favorites over their next Big Ten opponent.
It's 3-1.
You could end this weekend in the middle of the pack in the Big Ten West. For everything everything that has happened so far this season, which has been basically nothing short of disastrous. There is hope. I'm not saying Nebraska should win. I'm not even going to say that Nebraska will win. There's hope.
They could win it.
There's a 4-letter word that every Nebraska fan should have, and that's hope. Seriously.
Hope's been taking a beating on us over the last several years.
Hope is a dangerous thing.
Oh, yeah.
And it is alive, and it is well. We're going to break it down. Nebraska, Indiana, this Saturday. Huskers come in as the favorite. We'll see here in a few minutes. Right here on the block, 93.7 The Ticket.
The following is a test of the emergency alert system.
Keep your tailgate cool with the dazzling hot deal from Sartor Heyman Jewelers. Get a free Yeti cooler with your purchase of only $1,500 or more. Take advantage of interest-free financing with no money down. Sartor Heyman has gorgeous jewelry in every price range, so buy her the diamonds she's been dreaming of and get instantly rewarded with a Yeti cooler for free. Offer ends soon, so hurry in and snatch up this cool jewelry deal. Sartor Heyman Jewelers, a Nebraska tradition since 1905.
Allo means business. Allo means local business. Allo means big business. Allo means small business. No matter your business, if you need reliable phone and internet connectivity, you need Allo. Local service and same-day dispatch. Free installation. Symmetrical upload and download speeds. If your business relies on communication, rely on Allo. Allo means business. Visit allofiber.com/business.
Landmark Implement, your local John Deere dealership, is searching for mechanics of all skill levels to grow with us. Landmark offers a competitive wage, full benefits package, along with paid time off within just 60 days of employment, as well as a 401k and a boot and clothing allowance. Interested in becoming a part of the Landmark difference? Apply now at landmarkimp.com/careers or contact Deanna 402-310-7561 or email careers@landmarkimp.com. That's landmarkimp.com. Landmark Implement is an equal opportunity employer.
Hi, Sean Callahan here for Koppel Chevrolet GMC, and things are cooking in Louisville. Right now, our pre-owned sales are off the charts, and we have loaded up the lots full of inventory. We've got a great supply of Sierras, Silverados, Tahoes, Yukons, and crossovers. Plus, we've got a great supply of back-to-school cars just in time for the big day. Don't forget about all of those new 2022 and 2023 units arriving every day as well. So please take that short, money-saving drive down 144th Street or shop online at koppelcars.com. You'll be glad you did.
Mike Shaver here for Trek CBD. Summer is here, and that means you're having garage parties with neighbors, hitting the golf course and the pool. The drink of this summer isn't your typical seltzer. It's drinkable Delta 8. Yep, Trek CBD has drinkable Delta 8 seltzers with mango and lime flavors for 4-packs, 12-packs, coming in a variety of mango, watermelon, lime, and berry. They also have hemp-derived Delta 9 syrups to put in your beverages, and as always, the excellent Delta 8 gummies. Trek CBD at 84th and Andermatt and TrekCBD.com. Trek CBD, CBD done right.
At Venue Catering and Events, we offer two of the most historic ballrooms in Lincoln. The Jasmine Room, located in the historic Grand Manse in the heart of downtown, featuring a beautiful built-in antique bar, spacious patio, and soaring skylit ceilings. The Scottish Rite Ballroom, located just 2 blocks from the state's capital, boasts intricate hand-carved columns, rich dark wood floors, and lavish chandeliers. The perfect venues to host your wedding, corporate event, or much more. For availability and more information, call us at 402-603-6483.
There's not many things worse than having plumbing issues at your home or business, but it's even worse if the problem isn't fixed correctly. Select Plumbing gets it right the first time, and they specialize in several things: general plumbing, water heaters, faucet and fixture repair, underground sewer and water repairs, backflow testing, and more. Keep your property free from leaks and other issues. Call today for a free estimate at 402-560-6197. Plus, they're hiring service plumbers. Contact Select Plumbing to inquire at 402-560-6197.
Tune in to the Teammates Mentoring Hour each Wednesday from 6 to 7 p.m. on 93.7 The Ticket. Hear stories from the program started by Tom and Nancy Osborne and how it's changed mentors and mentees' lives and how you can be involved. The Teammates Mentoring Hour, Wednesday nights from 6 to 7 o'clock on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. Imagine your next staff meeting. Now imagine your next staff meeting with a side of ribs. Your next client presentation, or that same client presentation with brisket and baked beans. It's better, right? Let Mary Ellen's Food for the Soul take care of all of your business catering needs. Feed the staff, cater your next event, whatever you need, Mary Ellen's can help. They can even host your events in their brand new event space located right next to the restaurant. Go see for yourself. Mary Ellen's Food for the Soul at 29th and Pine Lake or online at maryellens.com. Let them fix you a plate. Did you know that the U.S. has added over 1,100 new breweries in the last 18 months? Learn more by shopping at Myers Cork and Bottle, 13th and South, and by tuning into Thirsty Thursdays with Kevin Myers, because sports are better with a drink in your hand and a friend at your side.
Victor deployed for the first time to Afghanistan in 2003. At 4 a.m, my phone rang. They said, "I regret to inform you that your husband was wounded in action." Victor sustained a moderate traumatic brain injury. I was doing school full-time, and I was also then caring for Victor. One of the most important elements of caregiving is taking care of yourself. I just didn't want to forget that I also had goals and that I also had a life. What I did is I challenged Victor to meet me halfway. There are almost 6 million military and veteran caregivers across the nation. We have our own journey, and we can fulfill that journey at the same time that we are helping our loved one.
Visit aarp.org/caregiving for a free military veterans guide to navigate your caregiving journey and better care for your loved one and yourself. Brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
Back to On the Block with Strick and Nate on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Welcome back to On the Block. You're listening to 93.7 The Ticket. My name is Nate Brennan. He is Jake Bakoven. No Strick today. He's going on a little sabbatical over there in New York. I actually caught the Cowboys-Giants game last night. Turned out to be a pretty good game. Cowboys would end up on top. Cooper Rush for MVP. They were chanting in the stands. I don't know if
I don't think they were really.
I don't know if they were actually chanting.
Like their defense
Cooper Rush
is
for
doing more than
MVP.
anything.
But Cooper Rush for MVP. Why not? I don't see why not.
Where did Cooper Rush play his college ball?
Ooh, that's a good trivia question. I'm
looking it up. I want to say like Central Michigan.
I was literally just about to say Central Michigan.
I'll look it up. It is Central Michigan.
I was about to say because I was about to say Central Michigan. I don't know why I knew that.
I don't know why I know that either.
That's welcome to working in sports radio. You just know random people where they went.
And we didn't necessarily know it. We just had a.
I had a hunch.
inkling.
Yeah, we had a hunch. You know, I love me some MAC football.
Oh yeah.
Oh, I love the MAC. The MAC is awesome. Do they still play on Tuesdays?
Doesn't seem like it, does
Oh,
it? It seems like I haven't been watching
Maction was
any
awesome. Bring Maction back.
Yeah.
Tuesdays and Thursdays. The only time you should ever have a Mac game is on Tuesdays and Thursdays because for the most part they're primarily party schools too. So, I mean, drink on a Tuesday, skip class on a Wednesday.
Are they party schools?
Yeah. Ball State,
The Mac? Oh, big
Ball
party.
State. Oh
big
yeah,
party school?
Ball State's a big party school. My
Oh,
mom
okay.
went to Ball State. So did my aunt. So
Nice.
did my uncle.
You should.
I'm a family of
yeah.
chirp chirps.
You should like the Ball State
I love the Cardinals.
Cardinals.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I love the
Yeah.
Cardinals. I love chirp chirp, baby. Go Ball State. 402-464-5685. Starter Heyman text line, Honda of Lincoln hotline. Hey, if you want to text us about Ball State, chirp chirp, go ahead. Be my guest. But we're gonna break down a little bit. We kind of teased it before the break, and I want to get into it a little bit more. And I want to get some box thoughts, and we can break down Indiana a little bit more. What I was saying before the break, the craziest part, and I keep trying to process this as a radio host, as a sports fan, as a Nebraska fan, there's so many thoughts going through my head telling me to be rational, and it's hard to be rational right now, Bach. I'll be entirely honest with you, because after everything that's happened, your head coach is fired, your defensive coordinator is fired, you start out 1-3, and your only win is against an FCS school. At the end of the day, through all of this madness, all of this chaos, coming off the bye week, you are a 6-point favorite over Indiana, and you're 0-1 in the Big Ten. Nebraska has an opportunity to come out of this bye with the 4 probably, I won't say easiest because there's no easy games for Nebraska right now. Listen, you have to play the team in front of you.
Oh, yeah.
And in my opinion, Nebraska should be an underdog in every game they play. I don't care if you're at home. I don't care if you're away. I don't care if you're playing a group of 5 school, for crying out loud. If it were up to me, Nebraska would be an underdog in every game from here on out. But you are in a situation, the 4 teams that you would want to play outside of Northwestern, who you already lost to, your next 4 games are the 4 teams you want to play in the Big Ten. You would be hard-pressed to convince me otherwise between Indiana, Rutgers, Purdue, and Illinois. Maybe you could throw in Maryland just because I hate Baby Tua. I don't think it's very good.
Michigan State's struggling.
Michigan State, maybe. But genuinely, if you had to say the 4 teams in the Big Ten that you would want to play to turn this season around, Nebraska has that. Now, am I saying Nebraska is a very good football team compared to these teams? No, they haven't proven anything and they haven't shown anything. But for crying out loud, I was saying this to Rico, and I know games aren't played on paper, and Jay Foreman has let me know that so many times. If you stacked up each position group, just had 2 sheets of paper, Nebraska's players, Indiana's players, Nebraska is probably better at every single position group. They are better at every position group, and you're playing at home. Honestly, this is the game, and this is the matchup that you want.
Yeah.
If you want to turn the season around, it is legitimately right in front of you.
Which is, kind of lines up for a good thing, right? Like you're saying, there's an opportunity there. Kind of lights up for a bad thing, because if you lose this game, then you're like, well, then the opportunity is right in front of you.
Bad, right?
So, and Nebraska fans, I mean, we're so beaten down, it kind of feels like that. I was kind of looking at the numbers too since 2014. I had the numbers in front of me when I dropped it. Just your primary rivals, which I would consider to be Oklahoma and Colorado from the old days, Wisconsin and Iowa now. They're 0-17 against those teams. Not one, not 2, 0. We haven't had 1 win against your primary rivals.
And I'm not even throwing those teams
since
out
Bo
there.
Pelini.
No, I know.
I mean, and so it's like, man, I just want a reason to get excited. And I think a victory against Indiana will do that. That will re-energize the program. A loss, on the other hand, might kill the sellout streak. I mean, this is a big week in my mind for Nebraska, for Mickey Joseph, obviously. And just again, I just think not just this season, but for the program to continue that sellout streak, to continue any sort of momentum, because I don't want, whether it's Mickey or anybody else, I don't want this program handed over with a 2-10 or 3-9 team that hasn't won in 5 weeks. I mean, you got to be able to get some momentum going. And Scott Frost was never able to get momentum going. With the well-known stat, he never won 3 games in a row. Even when they did have their rare big win, they'd come back the next week and lose. So this is huge. And you're right. They've got a very bad defense, as porous as Nebraska's.
Their offensive line
They've got offensive line problems like Nebraska. And they don't have the 10th best rusher in the nation like Nebraska does.
Their quarterback is
He's
Casey
solid.
Thompson. I mean, he's
probably on par
okay.
with him, I suppose.
I would take Casey Thompson.
I
You
would
too.
I might too, but
I
it's
know
not,
you
it's,
would.
it's not like in a landslide. I think they're pretty formidable, and I think he's gonna give. I think it's gonna be a good game because a lot of these matches it just kind of stacks up that way. The only thing that you worry about is they're 3-1. They're finishing these games. It's not like they're overwhelming anybody, but they're finishing these games off.
They're winning the games they should win.
Nebraska has not been able to get over that, that fourth quarter big play. Obviously outside of that Oklahoma game this past week, it's always been that. And I think that's what you're headed toward again this week.
Right.
And my God, if you have another blowout, then we're in trouble.
It would get bad. And Dusty makes a point. He says, wasn't our position groups better than Northwestern and Georgia Southern? Absolutely. And that's why I prefaced it. And well, also I would say Northwestern's offensive line is better than Nebraska's for what it's worth. But that's why the game isn't played on paper. Because if the game was played on paper, for what it's worth, Vegas has now favored Nebraska. This is also crazy. I always love bringing up Vegas because I always say that Vegas knows, but for some reason with Nebraska, they never know.
Vegas manipulates Nebraska fans.
They manipulate. They good for them.
They had 7.5 coming into the year. Is that right?
It was 7.5. And I said, over.
You said, take that.
Over.
Bet the house.
And I said, tag him to win the Big Ten West. That wasn't very smart. But actually, we don't know yet. But they've been favored 4 out of their first 5 games. 4 out of the first 5. And for what it's worth, 3 of those were by double digits. Northwestern, Georgia Southern, and North Dakota were all double-digit point favorites. Now, I say this, and I'm telling everyone to be cautious. I understand there's a lot riding on this game. Nebraska fans have been hurt, whatever have you. All I'm saying is if there's any resemblance of hope, if there's any reason to be optimistic, if there's any reason to point to the schedule and be like, hey, maybe it's this. And Mickey Joseph said a big thing too. And I'll go ahead and play that soundbite too, because I think this is the biggest part about going into this Indiana game.
I think it's important. I think beating Indiana is number one goal, but it's really important for this football team just to get some confidence that they can start something and finish it. And that's our goal, to beat Indiana.
That's the thing. And Buck, I want you to mention this a little bit too, because I know you've been here longer than I have. The word that sticks out to me there is confidence. When's the last time we have watched Nebraska take the field and look like a confident football team? Seriously. Like last year, and when I say confident and win the football game, there were a ton of times that Nebraska looked confident last year, and I said, wow, this is the turnaround. Nebraska's going to beat Ohio State. Nebraska's going to beat Iowa. Nebraska's going to beat Michigan. Nebraska's going to beat Michigan State on the road. You can throw out whatever team you want last year. When's the last time you saw a confident Nebraska team go in and handle business? 2 years? 3?
It's probably been a lot longer. I mean, just confident altogether. I mean, because you have to remember years ago, it was like if you had a losing season, first of all, the world was falling apart. Second of all, it was like losing is creeping into the locker room. Losing is not creeping in the locker room anymore. Losing has overwhelmed the locker room, and there might be, you hope for winning to creep into the locker room now. That's what I mean. So again, like he said, I mean, you have to see it happen. At some point, you got to make it happen. You know, it's the old chicken and egg argument, but at some point, you've got to win a game. And I don't know if that magically is going to put you over the rest of the year. Now, hey, we saw that we can win, and now we know that we can do it.
It's something.
If you do it against, Indiana, is it going to be the same to do that against Minnesota? No. But it is, I mean, they need confidence going, and they need some bit of just positive energy because, you know, the Mickey Joseph energy that was there for Big Noon, that was there, and you know,
it worked for the first.
It was kind of some rah stuff.
7-7,
right?
Nebraska scored first,
and it did seem to uplift us for a bit.
Awesome. That was, I will be honest, I was freaking out.
That was a lot of fun.
Someone take Nebraska money line before it's too late. Hammer it. Nebraska's going to win this game. Now that didn't work out very well, but there was excitement.
But
that's probably gone.
To Mickey's credit, though, it's like he knows what's happening. He knew what he stepped into, and he knew that this was a possibility. All of that, I get it, but he knows that this is, none of the players came into this week thinking, came into this year thinking, we'll just have a couple guys fired off our staff, and then we're
going to start really 1-3,
right? Like the players, I mean, the overall morale and mood. I mean, that's the struggle right now, is keeping these guys up. You know, they're going through back to a lot of the basics. You got a new voice, not just in the locker room, now on the defensive side of the ball, right? But it is, I just think the players need that shot of confidence, like he said, and this is the perfect opportunity. Night game at your home.
Light show.
Light show is going to be going there in the third quarter. And again, it's just, I think with the Oklahoma loss, it feels like you're so far away, and maybe you ultimately are, but there's some positives within this offense. Like I said, Anthony Grant's the top 10 rusher across the nation. Lean on him. Use him.
Trey Palmer is as advertised.
Trey Palmer
is as advertised.
You got Vocalic back. I mean, so they have some weapons on offense. You need this overhaul on defense, but until then, at least, and I think that's why Vegas is sticking with Nebraska, because there's still some positives here. It's not like Boulder. It's not Colorado football right now. There's still some positives.
I mean, that is, for what it's worth, Colorado is probably in more of shambles, but they do have a bison that they run on the field, so that's
Ralphie's
cool.
awesome.
They do have that going for them. Dusty says, how many Vegas line setters you think have been fired after setting the Nebraska line? Well, I'm not calling for anyone's job, but it wouldn't be surprising me if someone was let go. That's for certain. Harold says Northwestern last year was the last time you saw Nebraska play with confidence. What the thing is too, like, it's so crazy to me, and I fall under this too, because I've always said this, and since I've been given this platform and come on the radio, I've always said I am a Nebraska fan. And I will always inject optimism. I will always drink the Kool-Aid. That's just who I am. And at the end of the day, I'm a fan. Like, if Nebraska showed up like they did last year against Northwestern, it would be chaos. Like, it would be bedlam for a 2-3 football team. Legitimately, that's all it takes. Yeah. Not only like confidence in the fan base, confidence in the coaching staff, confidence in the players. If you go out and beat Indiana 56-7 this weekend, boom, sign me up. And to be honest with you, I think that's what makes last year a little bit different than this year, because last year you had that 56-7 game, but you also got to realize the schedule that you're playing. There were some platforms that consider Nebraska having the most difficult schedule in the country. Guess what? That's not going to be the case this year. Like, you're going to have one of probably the easier schedules in Power 5. Like, there are so many different scenarios. If you somehow go into that game and win like that, I think it will not only inject confidence, like a little bit of swagger. Like that's a big thing too. Like, when's the last time Nebraska had a little bit of swagger? Like, the black shirts were flying around. Everyone was having fun. Like, you throw around the fun word. At the end of the day, these are 20-year-old kids. Like, they're not professionals. Like, throw NIL out the window. They're still kids having fun, playing football. Like that's all it takes. And it just takes one big win like this. And I just keep bringing up these next 4 games because I think if there's a time to do it, it's these next 4.
I do think it's funny that you are holding out hope for a divisional championship. I'm still thinking,
why not?
Well, I think Minnesota looks like they've probably taken the clear lead in that. Also haven't beaten Wisconsin or Iowa in like 7 or 8 times.
Iowa looks bad.
Iowa looks bad.
They
look to get them.
Iowa looks bad.
Iowa looks like
they didn't score a touchdown against South Dakota State.
That was weeks ago, man. You're living in the past.
I will say, though, for what it's worth, 2 safeties was kind of awesome.
And then 2 defensive touchdowns
awesome.
last week.
And I know you like football. I hate it.
If you like defensive football, Iowa is fun to watch.
And it's not that I don't like defensive football. I genuinely can't watch an Iowa game. It's terrible. It makes me cringe. It hurts. Because it's like,
you watch Sunday Night Football?
You could throw basically. Yes, I did.
You did watch that one?
I watched like the first half, and I was like, get this off my television.
You couldn't do that either.
And it's like, the thing is, for Iowa, even if you had a decent quarterback like a Nate Stanley, they would probably go undefeated.
Well, they had Nate Stanley a few years ago.
Well, no, I'm saying with the defense that they have right now, they have one of the best defenses in the country. I will credit Iowa with that. It is very impressive what they do on the defensive end of the football. They are horrid on offense.
Yeah,
it's a joke. It is bad.
It is,
and that's why I'm like holding on.
They have been for years. Maybe. And Kirk Ferentz keeps his son as the offensive coordinator. Like, I was not going to fire him.
I forgot about that.
That's the best part about it.
I think they're both going to end up going.
Yeah, I don't think so.
Because at Iowa, they're okay with 9 wins. So, well, this guy would. Both leaning fired here in Nebraska, so I think it would be a different scenario now. I'll tell you that much. It's just like that's the craziest part about all of it. And we're gonna have shootout with Bach next, but in the second hour, we're gonna break that down. I want us to sit down, go through Nebraska's schedule and talk about scenarios, because this schedule, the way it plays out, and we've said this since before the season started, the schedule is in Nebraska's favor. There's a shot.
Yeah.
All I'm going to say is there's hope. There's hope.
That was the reason we were winning 9 preseason.
There's hope. Shootout with Bach is next. Give us a call, 402-464-5685. Your chance to win $15 Buffalo Wings and Rings after this. Stick with us.
Lincoln loves local business. What better way to support local than to drink local? Don't miss Lincoln Craft Beer Week beginning September 26th and continuing through October 2nd. You can't go wrong with 14 different local breweries, cideries, distilleries, and more putting on events to get you familiar with Lincoln's craft beverage scene. For more details on participating venues and Lincoln Craft Beer Week, visit lincoln.org/beer tour. Brought to you by the Lincoln Convention and Visitors Bureau. Remember to enjoy responsibly.
Tune in to the Teammates Mentoring Hour each Wednesday from 6 to 7 p.m. on 93.7 The Ticket. Hear stories from the program started by Tom and Nancy Osborne and how it's changed mentors and mentees' lives and how you can be involved. The Teammates Mentoring Hour, Wednesday nights from 6 to 7 o'clock on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
They might win, they might lose, but either way, you have something to say about it. Don't miss the Husker After Party postgame show immediately following every Nebraska football game. Nick Sainert and Jake Bachoven give instant reaction, quotes from the players and coaches, and take all your phone calls with thoughts on the game. It's the Husker After Party postgame show, only on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Sponsored by Action Plumbing and Heating, Gary Michaels Clothiers, and Brant Excavate.
Wow. Did you ever save me money on my car?
Yes, that's why our customers keep coming back.
How do you do it, friendly car dealer ?
We simply have low overhead and high trade-in values. The next line's yours.
Oh.
Ready for something better? Mullen Motors is a no-hassle, no-pressure dealership with financing available. Check out the inventory at MikeMullenMotors.com.
No taglines, just quality vehicles. Mullen Motors.
People always ask, what are Jake and Sip like when they're off the air? Well, the answer probably won't surprise you.
Hey, Jake, your Honda's looking a little dirty.
Says the guy whose license plate is barely visible.
I mean, do you even care about that thing anymore?
It gets a little uncomfortable. Now, that's when I jump in.
Hey, whoa. Mark, did you get a new car?
Nope, just took my car down to Nebraska Auto Detail. Joe and the staff made the outside and the inside look amazing. Maybe you guys need to go.
Okay, wise guy.
Settle down, Jake.
Book your appointment today at NebraskaAutoDetail.com.
There's a lot of realtors in Lincoln, but don't get overwhelmed by all the names. Ben Bleicher with Professional Realtor Group at Berkshire Hathaway Ambassador Real Estate is your go-to option when buying or selling residential and commercial property. Ben's team offers unbeatable customer service and promises to make the buying and selling process as stress-free as possible. Call Ben today at 402-419-6309 for all your real estate needs. Ben Bleicher with Professional Realty Group at Berkshire Hathaway Ambassador Real Estate. No pressure, just professionalism.
Landmark Implement, your local John Deere dealership, is searching for mechanics of all skill levels to grow with us. Landmark offers a competitive wage, full benefits package, along with paid time off within just 60 days of employment, as well as a 401k and a boot and clothing allowance. Interested in becoming a part of the Landmark difference? Apply now at landmarkimp.com/careers or contact Deanna 402-310-7561 or email careers@landmarkimp.com. That's landmarkimp.com. Landmark Implement is an equal opportunity employer.
Hey, Steve. Welcome to Great Clips.
Great Clips asks, what's the difference between good and great?
Come on back and have a seat.
Good asks you what haircut you'd like.
I have all your details from last time. Would you like the same haircut today?
Great already knows. With Clip Notes, we save your haircut details so you can get the same thing as last time, every time. Download our online check-in app today. Great Clips. It's gonna be great.
Hi, this is Kurt, your shop manager at A1 Automotive here in downtown Lincoln. My promise to you is this: you won't find another automotive repair facility that genuinely cares about you and your vehicle. Our service is outstanding and our customer service is better. Please give me a call for all your automotive repair questions and needs. Call me at 402-477-4660. We were built on small town values, and that shows in how we treat others. A1 Automotive, always honest answers.
Bauer Infrastructure is a new name from a well-established brand, and they're paving the way to progress. And they're hiring. Bauer Infrastructure is hiring truck drivers, carpenters, truck mechanics, and equipment operators. And they have industry-leading benefits to maintain a work-life balance.
Bauer offers paid time off and paid holidays, a matching 401k plan, medical, dental, vision, life, and disability insurance, a clothing allowance, and more. Start your new career today by applying at BauerInfrastructure.com.
93.7 The Ticket, Fox, KFXL Weather. Sponsored by Security First Bank, a relationship you can count on.
Expect sunny skies and another beautiful fall day. We'll top out at around 78. Winds turning out of the north-northeast at around 10. Tonight mainly clear, a low down to around 41, so it will be a chilly night and a cooler day for our Wednesday. Plenty of sunshine again, but a high of 69. I'm meteorologist Tim Wright for 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Get a lot of advice about self-care these days, but one of the most important self-care steps we can take is making sure we're financially secure later in life. For small steps you can take to save for retirement, visit WeSaySaveIt.org. A message from AARP and the Ad Council.
It's time to play Shootout with Strick. Call now, 464-5685, to take your shot against Eric Strickland. Shootout with Strick. Brought to you by Buffalo Wings and Rings.
Time to play the game!
That is correct. It is time to play Shootout with Strick. No Strick today, but we will still give out $15 to Buffalo Wings and Rings because we are generous people. That is right. Yeah, you know what? We are generous people. 402-464-5685. Honda of Lincoln Hotline. Shootout with Bach today. I won't tell you guys the category because Strick always gets upset with me because he says you guys Google. But I know this is a show of integrity, and I know the guy that we have on the line is full of that. Tater, what's going on today, my man?
Not much. I just figured I lost the Strick, so maybe I can take on the COVID.
Well, I will tell you this, Tater. I very specifically made the questions for Bach significantly harder, so that will hopefully put you in a better spot. Our questions today are going to be on Nebraska's stats up to this point in the season. Tater, you know how this works. Going to have you stay on the line. We got to get Bach's answers first to see how many points you have to get. Bach, are you ready?
I think I'm ready.
All right, we will start in 3, 2, and 1. This running back is third in carries on the season. Jacquez Yan or Gabe Irvin?
Gabe Irvin.
That's correct. This receiver is third in receptions this season. Brody Belt or Alante Brown?
Alante Brown.
That's correct. He leads Nebraska in yards lost per sack. O'Shawn Mathis or Garrett Nelson?
Garrett Nelson?
Nope, it's O'Shawn Mathis. He leads Nebraska in passes deflected. Tommy Hill or Quentin Newsom?
Newsom.
It's actually Tommy Hill. And he leads in Nebraska in yards per reception. You got plenty of time here. Yards per reception.
Right. Yards per reception. Is it Garcia Castaneda?
At the buzzer. That was pretty impressive.
There we
Bach.
go. I should have just went with IGC.
Isaiah Garcia Castaneda. I believe it's 24 yards per reception. So
well,
he's kind of the burner. He kind of gets things going there on the offense.
I like that sack question because they each have one, don't they?
They both have one, but I believe O'Shawn Mathis, the quarterback, lost 5 yards. Garrett Nelson was 3.
Okay.
So the answer is O'Shawn
It's not like I was
Mathis.
going through a whole lot of different plays there.
I know you were. But that will leave you, I will say, Bach, for what it's worth, that was really impressive because you walked out of there with 4 points and some very difficult questions.
Happy with that.
Tater, you got to get 4 to tie. You got to get 5 to win. I'll let you know your questions. I wouldn't say are easy, but they're certainly easier. So I think you might be all right in this one. All right, Tater, are you ready?
Yep.
All right, we will start in 3, 2, and 1. He leads Nebraska in interceptions. Marquise Buford or Braxton Clark?
Buford.
That's correct. He's forced Nebraska's only fumble. O'Shawn Mathis or Garrett Nelson?
Garrett Nelson.
That's correct. He's second in Nebraska for rushing touchdowns. Casey Thompson or A.J. Allen?
A.J. Allen.
It's actually Casey Thompson. He's the only quarterback other than Casey Thompson to complete a pass. Logan Smothers or Chubba Purdy?
Chubba Purdy.
For the win. Who did Indiana lose to this past weekend?
Cincinnati.
Oh, there it is.
And there it is. Tater only misses 1. That will finish him with 5 points. Tater, as always, here's your shout out.
Boom shakalaka. Finish it. Give me a hell yeah. I said give me a hell yeah.
Tater, you are officially on your redemption tour now. No Strick today, but would you like to talk trash to Bach?
No, I'm going to leave him alone because we want Urban Meyer.
That's right. We do want Urban Meyer.
Okay, so Tater's on the Urban Meyer trade, so that builds a friendship here on 93.7 The Ticket. Tater, go ahead and stay on the line. I'll make sure Rico gets your $15 to Buffalo Wings and Rings. Well played, both of you gentlemen.
I got a quarrel though.
I
think did you say there was only one fumble force this year? What about Buford's fumble force?
No, like forced fumble that was recovered.
Oh, okay.
So which was because statistically there's only one forced fumble that was in turn recovered, and that would have been Garrett Nelson.
Oh, okay.
So that would be for what it's worth, Buck. I'll go ahead and give you the tiebreaker because I always think that's a little bit fun, and I'm not sure if you're going to get this one because it's actually pretty difficult. Gabe Irvin, you know what? I owe you chicken wings, so I'll actually pay up on my chicken wings if you get this right. How does that sound? Okay. No, I'll actually get it to you. I'm gonna owe you 2 sets of chicken wings here pretty soon. That's right. Unfortunately, Gabe Irvin is 3rd for Nebraska in rushing yards. How many rushing yards does he have on the season?
Ooh,
this is gonna be an interesting one if it got to the time. Almost did.
Let's say like 74.
Ooh, close. It would be under 61.
61. Okay.
61. Yeah. And it looks like, by all indications, Gabe Irvin now RB2.
Yeah, he can get a few more carries.
Yeah, A.J. Allen will miss the rest of the season. So I think that 61 yards on the season is probably going to go up here pretty soon. We got to break down Nebraska's schedule. There's hope. There's optimism. There's Kool-Aid. Will it work out for Nebraska in the end? We'll go through it right here on the block. 93.7 The Ticket. Stay with us.
Landmark Implement, your local John Deere dealership, is searching for mechanics of all skill levels to grow with us. Landmark offers a competitive wage, full benefits package, along with paid time off within just 60 days of employment, as well as a 401k and a boot and clothing allowance. Interested in becoming a part of the Landmark difference? Apply now at landmarkimp.com/careers or contact Deanna 402-310-7561 or email careers@landmarkimp.com. That's landmarkimp.com. Landmark Implement is the equal opportunity employer.
There's not many things worse than having plumbing issues at your home or business, but it's even worse if the problem isn't fixed correctly. Select Plumbing gets it right the first time, and they specialize in several things: general plumbing, water heaters, faucet and fixture repair, underground sewer and water repairs, backflow testing, and more. Keep your property free from leaks and other issues. Call today for a free estimate at 402-560-6197. Plus, they're hiring service plumbers. Contact Select Plumbing to inquire at 402-560-6197.
Did you know that the U.S. has added over 1,100 new breweries in the last 18 months? Learn more by shopping at Myers Cork and Bottle, 13th and South, and by tuning in to Thirsty Thursdays with Kevin Myers, because sports are better with a drink in your hand and a friend at your side.
Lincoln loves local business. What better way to support local than to drink local? Don't miss Lincoln Craft Beer Week beginning September 26th and continuing through October 2nd. You can't go wrong with 14 different local breweries, cideries, distilleries, and more putting on events to get you familiar with Lincoln's craft beverage scene. For more details on participating venues and Lincoln Craft Beer Week, visit lincoln.org/beer tour. Brought to you by the Lincoln Convention and Visitors Bureau. Remember to enjoy responsibly.
Bauer Infrastructure is a new name from a well-established brand, and they're paving the way to progress. And they're hiring. Bauer Infrastructure is hiring truck drivers, carpenters, truck mechanics, and equipment operators. And they have industry-leading benefits to maintain a work-life balance. Bauer offers paid time off and paid holidays, a matching 401k plan, medical, dental, vision, life, and disability insurance, a clothing allowance, and more. Start your new career today by applying at BauerInfrastructure.com.
Wow. Did you ever save me money on my car?
Yes, that's why our customers keep coming back.
How do you do it, friendly car dealer ?
We simply have low overhead and high trade-in values. The next line's yours.
Oh.
Ready for something better? Mullen Motors is a no-hassle, no-pressure dealership with financing available. Check out the inventory at MikeMullenMotors.com.
No taglines, just quality vehicles. Mullen Motors.
The weather in Nebraska is unpredictable every day, and that's no fun when you're trying to golf. Double Eagle Golf in West Lincoln is now open to let you play in perfect indoor conditions daily. Double Eagle Golf has 5 simulator bays to hit in, by far the most in Lincoln.
and has a fully stocked bar with beers and cocktails for you to enjoy while you play. Double Eagle Golf is open each weekday from 7 a.m. to 10 p.m., so you can start the day there, take a client over lunch, or end the night with friends. Check out Double Eagle Golf today inside the Kinetic Sports Complex on West O Street.
Hey, Steve. Welcome to Great Clips.
Great Clips asks, what's the difference between good and great?
Come on back and have a seat.
Good asks you what haircut you'd like.
I have all your details from last time. Would you like the same haircut today?
Great already knows. With Clip Notes, we save your haircut details so you can get the same thing as last time, every time. Download our online check-in app today. Great Clips. It's gonna be great.
93.7 The Ticket. Fox KFXL Weather. Sponsored by John Henry's Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning.
Expect sunny skies and another beautiful fall day. We'll top out at around 78. Winds turning out of the north-northeast at around 10. Tonight, mainly clear, a low down to around 41, so it will be a chilly night and a cooler day for our Wednesday. Plenty of sunshine again, but a high of 69. I'm meteorologist Tim Wright for 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
This is Lincoln's home for sports talk on the FM dial. Also online at theticketfm.com. On the internet. KNTK FM Firth. 93.7 The Ticket.
Imagine your next staff meeting. Now imagine your next staff meeting with a side of ribs. Your next client presentation? Or that same client presentation with brisket and baked beans. It's better, right? Let Mary Ellen's Food for the Soul take care of all of your business catering needs. Feed the staff, cater your next event, whatever you need, Mary Ellen's can help. They can even host your events in their brand new event space located right next to the restaurant. Go see for yourself. Mary Ellen's Food for the Soul at 29th and Pine Lake or online at maryellens.com. Let them fix you a plate.
Victor deployed for the first time to Afghanistan in 2003. At 4 a.m, my phone rang. They said, I regret to inform you that your husband was wounded in action. Victor sustained a moderate traumatic brain injury. I was doing school full-time, and I was also then caring for Victor. One of the most important elements of caregiving is taking care of yourself. I just didn't want to forget that I also had goals and that I also had a life. What I did is I challenged Victor to meet me halfway. There are almost 6 million military and veteran caregivers across the nation. We have our own journey, and we can fulfill that journey at the same time that we are helping our loved one.
Visit aarp.org/caregiving for a free military veterans guide to navigate your caregiving journey and better care for your loved one and yourself. Brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
This is On the Block with Strick and Nate. Nebraska Basketball Hall of Famer and 9-year NBA vet, Eric Strickland.
Strickland for three! And you're going to go out of here as the Big 8 tournament champion.
And Hokie Homer turned Husker, Nathan Brennan.
Everyone knows that I'm the smartest person here.
Coming at you live from the heart of Lincoln, America. On air and online at theticketfm.com. Brought to you by Mary Ellen's Food for the Soul. This is On the Block with Strick and Nate.
Welcome into the second hour of On the Block. You're listening to 93.7 The Ticket. My name is Nate Brennan, not Eric Strickland today. Jake Bakoven from the water cooler stepping in, joining us today, having a little fun.
Husker Hall of Famer in my own mind.
That's right. That's right.
Nobody else's.
No, something like that. We'll say the Ticket Hall of Fame.
There you go. Yeah,
Here at the Ticket
we
Hall.
should create a Ticket Hall of
We
Fame.
should do. You've been here a while. Yeah, throw him in the Ticket Hall of Fame. Might as well. 402-464-5685 Honda of Lincoln Hotline, Starter Heyman text line. If you want to join in on the show, you can call us, message us on any type of platform as well. Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, and Twitter. If you head over to YouTube, give us a like, give us a subscribe. And as always, we are brought to you by Mary Ellen's Food for the Soul, 27th in Pine Lake. You have not had soul food until you have had Mary Ellen's. I would not steer you wrong. I'm a big food guy. I'm very particular about my food. I promise you, Mary Ellen's, Charles, and his staff will not disappoint. 27th and Pine Lake. If you're getting off early today, you might as well eat an early dinner. And you might as well go over to Mary Ellen's and get some food, fried chicken. They got chicken wings, ribs. They got everything. It is, Bot can attest to it too.
Oh, yeah.
It is some really, really great food. Kmart Steve says Tom Stevens is a first ballot ticket Hall of Famer.
That's right.
Tom Stevens would be
Absolutely.
a first ballot ticket.
One of the originals. In fact, the only original left, I believe, is Jake Sorensen.
Really?
I think he started.
When was the station started?
2011.
Oh, here we go. Rico's going to say he was an OG.
Sorensen is the only OG beginning person.
What about
Mark is as close as you can be without
Mark
starting
and
the
I
first
both
day.
got hired pretty much around the same time. Now I left.
So you're almost.
I had a sabbatical as well for a little bit.
You've had 3 sabbaticals.
I've sabbaticaled a little bit, but
every once in a while, a box just you know what? I think I'm done.
I'm done. I'll be back.
I'll
be back in 9 months.
Yeah, I'll be back. I'll be back in a couple months.
I guess technically you couldn't be in the Hall of Fame because you haven't retired yet.
Yeah, that's right.
You're
we should.
You're like Tom Brady.
I did retire and I came back.
Like Tom
How many
Brady.
we have one Hall of Famer.
Who's that?
Adrian.
Yeah, Adrian's for sure a Hall of Famer.
Who?
Adrian Fiala.
Adrian Fiala.
He's a
he's the Hall of Famer.
Yeah,
He's the Hall of Fame.
The Hall of Famer.
We'll say Tom Stevens in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, Tom Stevens will induct into the Hall of Fame too. Not
technically, he's still on Husker Rewind. You can check them out on Sunday.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
But shout out to Kmart Steve. We appreciate that. Tom Stevens will throw him on there. Also, if I haven't already said YouTube, give us a like, give us a subscribe, all that good stuff. Tell your mom, aunt, cousin. I don't care who you tell. Tell them to subscribe to 93.7 The Ticket on YouTube. Thunder to Soft Collins says, leave again and take your hot takes with you. I think he's coming at you. I think because he's the one that doesn't like when you mention Texas.
Yeah, well,
Texas and Iowa.
Yeah. I hate Texas more than any other school. But just because I think there's 1 second, maybe at least according to the clock on the TV network that I watched in the 2009 championship
I was
game.
a co-host with you for quite a while.
Yeah,
and I know that you stand Texas secretly.
I do not.
Yes, you do.
I do not like Texas.
Feinbach.
There are a few.
You stand the SEC too.
I love the SEC.
You stand the SEC, Iowa, and Texas. I know those
Not
are big
Texas.
three.
Texas is off the list. There are some players that I liked at Texas in the past.
There it is.
Players.
There it is.
But I did not cheer for the team.
Come at him, Tex Line. You like Texas. Trust me, I know. I co-hosted with him for a while.
I do not like Texas.
We are back. The Ticket Water Cooler Extension. That's what we're going to call. Thomas and Lincoln says hook 'em horns. All right, Thomas, come on.
Yeah. Opposite of that. Horns down. See?
Horns
Can't
down.
like Texas if you do
Horns
this.
down. We're all horns down.
Yeah.
So I want to go through Nebraska's schedule a little bit here, Bach, because what's so fascinating, and we've talked about it throughout the show, and I'm going to bring it up again because it really does blow my mind the more that we talk about it. Nebraska, for what it's worth, everything that's gone wrong, I'm not going to say that they're going to win the Big Ten West. I'm saying there's hope. There's a shot. So these are the first 4 games that I always bring up. Indiana at Rutgers on a Friday night. Rutgers not very good this year. At Purdue, who also has not looked very great. Also, Aiden O'Connell, I don't believe, played against FAU last week.
Did he not?
I don't
No, he
think
didn't. You're right.
I don't think he ended up playing. So you might get Purdue without Aiden O'Connell, which would make that game even more interesting. And then you have a home game against Illinois, who's already lost to Indiana. I think the back end of the schedule, Minnesota, Michigan, Wisconsin, Iowa, you're going to have a lot of issues there. But as a texter mentioned, if you're 1-3 and you win these next 4 games, this is a big if, and I'm not saying Nebraska will. I'm just saying that in the grand scheme of things, they can. It's 1 week at a time, and if you take it 1 week at a time and we somehow find ourselves at 5-3, what is the discussion? Because then you get into an interesting part of your schedule, and I think where Nebraska currently stands, a lot could change, especially in these next 4 weeks, because I think there's something to be said for confidence, and I think there's something to be said for getting a little bit of momentum. Those last 4 games, I don't see Nebraska winning any of those. So if you're sitting at 5-3, where do you see the rest of the season going? And do you see a scenario where Nebraska can go 5-3? Because I, to be honest, these next 4 games, I love the schedule. I love it. I love it.
I don't love it because I think, Purdue is 2-2, but they lost 2 close games. I could see Nebraska pulling off a victory against Purdue. I'm not saying it's, that I can't see it happening, but I still think that that's a pretty solid squad. Haven't lived up to the preseason hype. Illinois, I also think, is getting better. They have the nation's leading rusher, I believe, in Chase Brown.
So, yeah. Which doesn't bode well for Nebraska.
No. They're just kind of your typical Brett Bielema grinded out team. Good defensive side of the ball there. So I think that those 2 games are particularly difficult, but so I don't like the 4-game stretch as much as I like the 2-game stretch. So the 2-game stretch is upcoming here. Throw Rutgers on the back of it, but Indiana as well. I think that's where these are kind of your get right, get back on track type of games. Like you said, you're 1-3, get back to 500, and then you can have some confidence in some of these games moving forward. Again, you're probably not going to be favored as much as Vegas loves to favor Nebraska.
I'm telling you right now, I think 3 of these next 4 games they'll be favored. I think they're already favored against Indiana. I think when it's all said and done, they'll be favored against Rutgers on the road. If they beat Indiana, that's a big if. That's a big if. Don't come at me, text line. I'm saying if they beat Indiana, I think they'll be favored against Rutgers. I don't think they'll be favorites on the road against Purdue. I think they'll be favorites at home against Illinois.
And I think they could be. I wondered this too. Is the stain of Husker footballs just couldn't get over. I mean, they were outcoached on a weekly basis with Scott Frost at the helm,
which is now it'll change
against all Big Ten West opponents. That's what I'm asking.
Right.
Is the fact that you haven't been able to be really just, I mean, what was it? I don't remember what it was by the end of 4-17 or something against the Big Ten West current coaches, outcoached left and right. Is that gone now? Is this truly a clean slate? Or, I mean, are you looking at the mess that Mickey Joseph kind of took over and thinking, maybe still try to punch your way up to get 2 or 3 victories, but it's going to be hard to get to a bowl game?
Well, I think that this is one thing that, and I'll just kind of reiterate what Jay says quite a bit, is we can blame the coaches all we want, which I think rightfully so, and I think that coaches were let go for a reason. The players still got to play. Let's not act like the players are innocent in all of this. The defense has looked absolutely horrid.
Effort at times.
The effort on the offensive and defensive side of the ball at times has looked terrible. Their fingers to point all around. And all I'm saying is when you look at Northwestern when they took their bye week, I know that it was disastrous and it didn't work out. Thank God that Nebraska took their bye week after Oklahoma. Imagine if we went out of Oklahoma game, getting absolutely shelled at home in front of Memorial Stadium, and then you go into Indiana the next week. I'm not as confident. And I'm not even going to say that I'm confident right now. I'm just saying at this point in time, I have hope. And it's entirely because of the schedule. I will say I'm a victim to schedules. I looked at it before the season, and I'm looking at it now. This 4-game stretch, a big if, a lot of things can happen. The schedule plays in Nebraska's favor.
Well, I'll say this too about the end of the schedule. I think obviously with Minnesota and Michigan right now, those are 2 of the top 25 teams, 2 of the 5 top 25 teams in the Big Ten. That's going to be a hard sell. But Wisconsin doesn't look all that good. Now I know Braylon Allen does, and that's your fear with Nebraska's rushing defense.
And he's an adult now.
And Iowa, as we've mentioned, does not look good offensively. I don't feel like those are automatic L's as much as I'm the king of saying until Nebraska beats one of them, that's an L for me preseason.
Right.
But now that now that we're in the mix of things, we built that 4-game stretch at the end to be this giant obstacle because we thought that the first part of the season wasn't going to be. So that's where we thought we'd be tested. Right. Okay, well now that you're 1-3, and you kind of see where you're at. Yeah. It might have been your easiest 4-game stretch or whatever, but I'm not saying it's a cakewalk against Wisconsin or Iowa either. Typically, those teams also get better if they don't get too much injured, get better as the season goes on just because their style of football. I'm just saying I'm not automatically checking up those ones as losses, especially, you get Wisconsin at home. And again, just Iowa's offense. I mean, Iowa almost their game plan is to beat you by 1 score. So you're supposed to be in the game with Iowa. So if that's the case, you'll have a chance there. It takes a lot as far as anybody on the schedule for what we saw out of the Oklahoma game and from what we've seen early on in the season. But I still think those first 3 losses, and it is on the players. It has been on the players as well. But that Scott Frost just kind of looming over the sidelines, calling onside kicks.
Yeah, it's a weight on
you
your
saw
shoulders.
it at the end when the special teams, against Iowa last year, when the special teams didn't. I mean, the punt got blocked, and just the energy on the sideline was look at Scott Frost. This is exactly how this always goes. I feel like there is truly a bit of a clean slate. But I'm not confident, and who could blame me after a 1-3 start?
And I don't.
Destroyed by Oklahoma. Northwestern looks bad. I mean, all the points are signing that this is legitimately not a very good team at Nebraska. But and it might be season long. That might be the story, but that's part of the story too. Is the ups and downs of a season. Nebraska just need to find that up, and I think that starts this week against Indiana. If you lose this game, though, I mean, then you truly start to look at the schedule, and it becomes a little daunting, just kind of depending how it looks.
Where does it happen?
Right,
and that's why I think this Indiana game, and Mickey said it. We played the sound. He talks about how important this game is. Like, I don't think Nebraska can take this lightly. Like, this game, from what you have created, is, I'm not going to say a must win. I hate saying a must win this early in the season, because for crying out loud, it is still early in the season. Like, we played a third of the season. We played one game in the Big Ten. And if it wasn't for an onside kick, you should have beat that team, for crying out loud.
Yeah.
Like, I hate pointing at one play, but we're going to point at one play.
Yeah.
You without an onside kick, you beat Northwestern. Okay, whatever. It is what it is. You're 0-1 in the Big Ten. Like, the entirety of your Big Ten season, the season that counts, is still right in front of you. So this Indiana game is the start, and I think that these next 4 games is going to be an indication of what Nebraska is going to do this season. Andrew says Nebraska going to go on a 4-game winning streak. Mark it down, check mark. Texter says, when will the Kool-Aid run out? You can't even beat Georgia Southern. Hey, Texter, we will always have Kool-Aid.
Hey, Georgia Southern's 3-1 too. That's
Georgia Southern is 3-1.
Good football team.
Great football team. Clay Helton. Mark it down. That's the thing is, like, I even said the segment before, like, I will always have Kool-Aid. Like, I will always be an optimist. I will always look at the Kool-Aid. Now, if we were sitting here in a scenario where your next games were Minnesota, Michigan, Penn State, you can even throw Michigan State in there. Hell, throw Maryland in there, for crying out loud. If that was the next few games, okay, sure. Like, I'd be a little bit concerned. I'd be a little bit worried, because then you're worried about morale, right? Like, if you just get buried by Oklahoma, you get beat down by Minnesota, who is going to just run it down your throat. Then you have to go on the road to Michigan. Like, if all of these, that's just a whirlwind, a tornado that you can't get out of. Like, there's literally no way out. The thing is, like, the way the schedule is set up, and we even said this, the crazy part about it, Bach, is like what we said before the season hasn't panned out, but the theory is still there. Like, Nebraska's schedule is going to play in their favor. And I thought maybe one of these teams would surprise us. I thought Purdue was probably going to be that team. None of these teams surprise you. You know, you can even throw Iowa, for crying out loud, in that mix. You know exactly what you're going to get. You know exactly what's going to happen. Indiana, you know what you're going to get. Minnesota, they're a great football team. Like, I don't really see a wild card in this bunch. I don't.
Well, that's because Minnesota's ranked now. I mean, they were kind of the wild card. They weren't ranked preseason, and they've risen up. And they're doing so without their best receiver again, because he got hurt. He's out for the season. Right. So, I mean, I get what you're saying. I mean, the identity is pretty clear among a lot of these teams. It's just that
they're still not very good.
With those identities have beaten you. I guess it's just hard for me to even identify the goal. What's the goal now? Because I understand what you're saying. There's still a chance to win the Big Ten West. That's hard
that's always
to imagine.
Do I think that's realistic? No. I would say right now, and I think Texter hits this on the head right here. I think if the Huskers are sitting at 5-3, they're going to have enough confidence to win one of the last 4. That, honestly, the goal for me right now is just build confidence.
Right. And I think that's overall got to be the goal. But when you're looking at, like, what we're doing here, a season-long type of deal, they have 8 games left. If they split them and go 4-4, that's great considering your 1-3 start. That's great considering it's an interim coach and all the problems he's inheriting. That still doesn't make a bowl game. So, I mean, that's kind of
where
your
goal, starting out 1-3, firing your coach.
That's what I'm thinking.
Basically, start the season. I don't know if a bowl game.
But you're keeping the Big Ten West as your goal.
Hey,
but
I'll
the
always
bowl
keep
game.
I'll always keep that dream alive.
Saying, though.
That dream is not dead yet.
But that's what
Don't
I'm
you
saying.
dare give up on the Big Ten West. How dare you?
That's what I'm saying. It's hard to identify a goal because the Big Ten West theoretically should be ahead, harder to reach than a bowl game. And the bowl game already sounds like, it's not necessarily fair to Mickey to say, hey, we better get a bowl game out of this.
I agree. And that's why I'm saying throw records out the window. Throw win-loss out the window. I just want to see some type of morale booster, confidence, Nebraska football. Like, the thing is like, we've reached the situation now, and I don't want to blame Scott Frost on it because it's not entirely his fault. But You look at where Nebraska is with effort, with intensity, with whatever word you want to describe Nebraska football right now. It's not what Nebraska football was, and it's not what Nebraska football is. And I think it just somehow you get some type of resemblance of what Nebraska football is. I can chalk that up as a win. And throw records aside, for crying out loud, if you lose the next, 9 games left in the season, 8 games, if you lose the next 8, every single one by a field goal, but if you see intensity, if you see gang tackling, if you see guys blood, sweat, and tears left on that field at Memorial Stadium, that's a win. I'll take it. Because you know what, Bach? To start this season, and for a lot of the Scott Frost tenure, you didn't see that. You didn't.
Yeah. I just don't know if close losses is going to get you back to where you want to be. I get what you're saying, though.
It's a step in the right direction.
It needs to be, it just needs to look right, because Nebraska football fans, for years, we would say Nebraska football fans are smart. They know football. They understand football. And it's because they've seen good football.
Right.
Now, Nebraska football fans, long-term fans, have still seen good football, but now it's like, now they've seen bad football. They know what bad football looks like.
Very bad football.
And it's just, it's difficult to see it completely transitioning. I mean, you're talking about, especially with Bill Busch, for him to take over a defense that's given up more than 500 yards per game. It's like 127th ranked on almost every statistical category. I mean, this is, again, I completely say it. It's an absolute mess defensively. So when Mickey Joseph talks about stepping in and kind of slowing the tempo, maybe paying more attention to time of possession, help your defense maybe by keeping them off the field a little bit more, that's great. You have to do all that with keeping in mind that your offensive line is still a major liability to you. So, I mean, that's difficult in its own. So, there are reasons to be excited. There are the skill position players that I think are still, excitable. And Anthony Grant, certainly somebody that you can rely on. I think that there are those things there. But when you talk about, okay, maybe Iowa and Wisconsin and Minnesota and Illinois, and these teams aren't flashy. You're right. They're not flashy. But what they do have generally is good offensive lines and good defensive lines. Nebraska started this season with question marks on their front line play, and at 1-3, that continues to be the question mark. And until that is fixed, and I don't know if that can get magically fixed. Maybe you need years of weight rooms. Maybe you need different guys in there. Maybe, because in my mind, especially on the offensive line, I don't know if I see a true tackle there. I think they got guards playing tackle. So, or maybe not even that. But the point is, you can get excited about some of these teams not blowing you away on paper that they have on their schedule. They win on the front lines, and Nebraska is severely undermanned, or whatever way you want to put it, on the front lines. And that continues to be my fear about any miraculous turnaround here, despite the schedule not being overwhelming.
Well, I got to say this, because the text line's coming at me when I say close losses. And I'm just going to explain it right now. And it might be a little bit frustrating. It might come off angry. Listen, Nebraska right now, what you are finding yourself in is Nebraska is on the verge of, the way the season has looked like, when you get into Big Ten play, you're going to get smoked every game. I don't want close losses either. If it were up to me, Nebraska would go 12-0 every year. So would everyone else. Guess what? You haven't had a winning season in 5 years. It's been 5 years. Did close losses suck last year? Yeah, but you brought back the guy to eventually turn that around. Guess what? He's gone. So is his defensive coordinator. This team just got smacked by Oklahoma. Guess what? You're going to play Minnesota. You're going to play Wisconsin. You're going to play Iowa. You're going to play Michigan, who looks like a playoff team. Guess what? They're probably, the way that it's set up right now, going to smack you too. Would I take a close loss at this point? Absolutely. Give me something to believe in. And is that going to keep Mickey Joseph his job? Probably not. But for crying out loud, like, do you really want to sit here every single week and be like, oh, well, there's no effort on the sideline again. There's no effort on the field. I guess we'll just get shelled by 40. Then your sellout streak is gone. Then morale is gone. Then recruiting is crushed. Then the players on the field transfer. Like that's the type of situation that happens if you turn into one of these teams that just gets smoked every week.
Well, I think
I'll take a close loss against Minnesota. I'll take a close loss against Michigan. For crying out loud, do I want to see him win? Of course.
Well, I think that's the key, though, is maybe that's a positive step against Michigan and Minnesota, but it doesn't do much if you lose close to Illinois or Indiana.
Do we
this
really,
weekend.
genuinely speaking, with the current direction of the program, Would you be shocked if they didn't win another game this year?
I wouldn't say shocked.
I don't think anyone should be.
Yeah.
I genuinely, I don't think anyone should be. Like me and Rico said, you shouldn't go into a single game expecting to win. Can you win? Hell yeah. I'm looking at these next 4 games saying you absolutely could win every single one of these games. Should you? I wouldn't say that.
Yeah.
What has shown you on the field that they should beat anybody?
Do you think an Indiana close loss would at least maybe preserve the sellout streak moving forward? You wouldn't have a home game again until the 29th. So I don't know. I think, there's a lot more to be written there, I suppose, because you'd still have the Rutgers and Purdue games before you get back at home. But I guess instead of the sellout streak, does it preserve your belief that this could be heading in the right direction? Because it is week 2. It's the second game for Mickey Joseph. Very difficult circumstances in week 1. Some people want to clear that loss. I guess you can, but statistically it goes down that he's 0-1. But to me, at least that would show that you're back on par with some of these struggling Big Ten teams. And keep in mind, Indiana at that point would be 4-1, doubling their win total from last year. But so I guess what I'm saying is, obviously, as opposed to a victory over Indiana, you take it. As opposed to a blowout loss, I suppose you'll take a close loss. But what I'm saying is, would that rejuvenate you? Would you still be bought in? Would you believe if a close loss to Indiana, or are you thinking another loss? They're 1-4, difficult schedule, starts to build up near the back end. There's just not much hope in a bowl game. Does that take you out of it?
That's where it gets really interesting, because I think again, games aren't played on paper. I'll preface with that. I think on paper, your easiest game left is probably Indiana.
I think so too.
Like genuinely, I think that Indiana is probably your easiest game. I'm not going to say it's going to happen, because I think I believe in Husker Nation. I believe in the fans. I believe in the sellout streak. I love everything they're doing. I know a lot of people throw out the fraud word when we're talking about the sellout streak. I love the sellout streak, especially you're giving kids opportunity to go to a football game.
Oh yeah, red carpet experience.
I'm telling you right now, if they lose to Indiana, I'm worried.
Okay, even if it's a close loss,
I think it could be done. I genuinely believe this Indiana game has to be a win. I do. And I know everyone's frustrated by the close losses, but listen, I watched not a close loss against Oklahoma. I will take every single game last year the exact way that it happened. Iowa losing off special teams, Michigan State kicking the ball the wrong way, Michigan fumbling at your own 55 or 45 yard line, whatever. I will take every single way that Nebraska lost last year besides that Oklahoma game. I don't want to see it. I think it's terrible football. It makes the program look bad. It makes the coaching staff look bad. The fans give up. I don't want to see that again. I know a lot of fans hate that, and a lot of fans probably would rather get blown out. I don't know about you, Bach. I'm not there.
I don't think
I hate blowouts. I hate it.
I do too. And that's the interesting conversation that gets brought up too. And VJ kind of asked me today, and it's back to the old Bo Pelini routine. Would you rather, win 9 games and get blown out in 3 or whatever the case may be? Maybe, as opposed to losing every game. Yeah, but it's still
I'll take last year's season every single time.
I wouldn't I don't know if I'd say that.
Oklahoma game, why even watch the second half at that point? That was terrible. I didn't want to watch that. At least you had hope.
Yeah, but at least
I love the hope word,
again.
Bob.
But obviously you'd want to win more games, though. It's just that the blowout. Both scenarios are not very digestible.
They're both terrible. That's why, you know what? We're going to beat Indiana, and we're going to shut everyone up here. That's what we're going to do. We got Steve Sipple. He's going to talk about all of this coming up next on the block. 937 The Ticket.
Crazy. Lincoln loves local business. What better way to support local than to drink local? Don't miss Lincoln Craft Beer Week beginning September 26th and continuing through October 2nd. You can't go wrong with 14 different local breweries, cideries, distilleries, and more putting on events to get you familiar with Lincoln's craft beverage scene. For more details on participating venues and Lincoln Craft Beer Week, visit lincoln.org/beer tour. Brought to you by the Lincoln Convention and Visitors Bureau. Remember to enjoy responsibly.
Hey, Steve. Welcome to Great Clips.
Great Clips asks, what's the difference between good and great?
Come on back and have a seat.
Good asks you what haircut you'd like.
I have all your details from last time. Would you like the same haircut today?
Great already knows. With Clip Notes, we we save your haircut details so you can get the same thing as last time, every time. Download our online check-in app today. Great Clips. It's gonna be great.
Casey's General Stores is giving away 2 tickets to each Nebraska football home game this season. To enter, just head to any Casey's General Store location in Lincoln during the football season, scan the QR code at the front counter, and fill out the online form. One winner will be chosen at random 2 days before that week's game. So head over to Casey's, stock up on all your tailgating snacks and drinks, and register to win 2 tickets to a Nebraska football game, brought to you by Casey's General Store and 93.7 The Ticket.
Wall-to-Wall Wine and Spirits is now open in Lincoln. Shop our expansive collection of wine, beer, spirits, and cigars at 5040 27th Street. From top shelf liquor to crowd favorite beer, Wall-to-Wall Wine and Spirits has a beverage for every taste and every budget. Plus, join our loyalty program to earn rewards and save on future purchases. Shop Wall-to-Wall Wine and Spirits at 5040 27th Street in Lincoln. That's 5040 27th Street.
If you need to sell equipment and trucks, Ritchie Brothers' new Lincoln Satellite Yard lets you free up space at your property and get local access to all Ritchie Brothers auctions. Drop your equipment off and sell it online at any Ritchie Brothers auction, Iron Planet, or via Marketplace E. The yard is at 8801 US 6 Lincoln. It's secure and makes for easy in-person buyer inspections and pickup. Take advantage of this yard to sell at Ritchie Brothers' Great Plains Regional Auction, September 15th and 16th. For details, visit rbauction.com/Lincoln.
Gaina Trucking is hiring CDL Class A and B drivers. Gaina Trucking guarantees a 40-hour work week year-round, and their strong team culture makes it not a job, but a career. Gaina Trucking offers health, vision, and dental insurance, 401k with company match, an employee assistance program, and other bonus programs. Build a better career today with great team culture at Gaina Trucking. Learn more and apply today at GainaTrucking.com.
Wow. Did you ever save me money on my car?
Yes, that's why our customers keep coming back.
How do you do it, friendly car dealer ?
We simply have low overhead and high trade-in values. The next line's yours.
Oh.
Ready for something better? Mullen Motors is a no-hassle, no-pressure dealership with financing available. Check out the inventory at MikeMullenMotors.com.
No taglines, just quality vehicles. Mullen Motors.
Imagine your next staff meeting. Now imagine your next staff meeting with a side of ribs. Your next client presentation? Or that same client presentation with brisket and baked beans. It's better, right? Let Mary Ellen's Food for the Soul take care of all of your business catering needs. Feed the staff, cater your next event, whatever you need, Mary Ellen's can help. They can even host your events in their brand new event space located right next to the restaurant. Go see for yourself. Mary Ellen's Food for the Soul at 29th and Pine Lake or online at maryellens.com. Let them fix you a plate.
Hey, it's Nicklin Hames from Nebraska Volleyball. I hate wasting time in practice, and I want to help you stop wasting your time when you're looking for an electrician. High Electric has been serving the area for over 30 years for both residential and commercial properties. They are experts in everything like remodeling, new additions, hot tub installation, and more. And they take jobs from Beatrice to Omaha and all towns, big or small, in between. Call them today at 402-466-6606 or learn more at high-electric.com.
The weather in Nebraska is unpredictable every day, and that's no fun when you're trying to golf. Double Eagle Golf in West Lincoln is now open to let you play in perfect indoor conditions daily. Double Eagle Golf has 5 simulator bays to hit in, by far the most in Lincoln. It has a fully stocked bar with beers and cocktails for you to enjoy while you play. Double Eagle Golf is open each weekday from 7 a.m. to 10 p.m., so you can start the day there, take a client over lunch, or end the night with friends. Check out Double Eagle Golf today inside the Kinetic Sports Complex on West O Street.
Wall-to-Wall Wine and Spirits is now open in Lincoln. Shop our expansive collection of wine, beer, spirits, and cigars at 5040 27th Street. From top shelf liquor to crowd favorite beer, Wall-to-Wall Wine and Spirits has a beverage for every taste and every budget. Plus, join our loyalty program to earn rewards and save on future purchases. Shop Wall-to-Wall Wine and Spirits at 5040 27th Street in Lincoln. That's 5040 27th Street.
College football in Lincoln, America. The time has come. Start your game day off right with the A1 Automotive Ticket Tailgate Pregame Show. Join the ticket crew live from Tipsy Tina's in the Haymarket as they bring you all the coverage you need to get you ready for the action. It's the A1 Automotive Ticket Tailgate Pregame Show on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Brought to you by A1 Automotive, Mullen Motors, Wall to Wall Wine and Spirits, Bauer Underground, Ben Bleicher with Professional Realty Group, and Ritchie Brothers. It's time again for Lincoln's Best Oktoberfest, the 7th annual Piedmont Oktoberfest, October 8th from 5 to 11 p.m. Enjoy dozens of beers, amazing local food, live music, costume contests, Stein holding contests, yodeling, and more, with tickets starting at only $33. Live music by the B Street Band, provided by Aloe Fiber, and safe rides home, provided by Z-Trip and the Nebraska Department of Transportation Highway Safety Office. Get your tickets today at the shopsatpiedmont.com. Use promo code THETICKET to receive 10% off your complete order. It's the Piedmont Oktoberfest, the shopsatpiedmont.com.
Back to On the Block with Strick and Nate on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Big things happening here at the Ticket. I'll go ahead and tell you, you're going to want to stick around tonight for Ticket Weeknights. I can't say too much, but I promise you, Ticket Weeknights, it's going to be a fun one. Going to want to stick around for that. 402-464-5685, Honda Lincoln Hotline, Starter Aim and Text Line. As always, you can reach out to us on either of those platforms. I guess you can call us, text us, Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, Twitter. You can do all the same. Jake Bachman joining me now. No Strick this week, so it's the Ticket water cooler revamped. The Ticket water cooler renewed. The second coming. I don't know what should we call it. The redemption.
Yeah, redemption tour.
The redemption tour of the Ticket water.
Was
cooler.
our banter about Illinois? Was that off air or on air? I think it was off air.
That was off air.
Oh, okay.
I'm not buying Illinois.
Well, I am buying Illinois. You know why? In their 3 wins this year, they've given up 6 points, 3 points, and 0 points. That defense is not messing around.
There's only one person's opinion that I could possibly appreciate, respect, and to be honest with you, jump on his bandwagon. It's Steve Sipple. Sip, are we buying Illinois?
I don't know enough about them. I just heard what Fox said. I watched Illinois, Indiana, and I don't know, they definitely play well defensively. They don't have much of an offense, but I don't know. I'd have to see a little bit more of them to make that determination.
Well, Sip, I tell you what, you should be on my side because we're not buying Illinois. Nebraska beats them. That's besides the point. Steve Sipple, Husker Online, On3 Sports, on3.com, joining us right now. Sip, we just got in some pretty intense Indiana talk, and I just want to kind of get your initial thoughts because the line has now moved to Nebraska, 6-point favorites at home against Indiana. Are you buying what Vegas is putting down?
No, not really. I mean, I don't. If I always just go straight to the extreme in these conversations. And if I had my house on the line or a child, something
custody,
major, I would pick Indiana. I mean, if you take all the emotion, all of the I don't know, just all the kind of the noise, all of the feeling out of it. Just if you look at it pragmatically, I just don't. I'd pick Indiana. I'd probably pick Indiana to win by 6-10, actually. So no, I don't buy it. I don't know what Vegas is up to there. You guys have a better feel for that than I do. I'm surprised by that line.
Yeah, I was surprised to see that too. One thing that I'm going to be looking at as the game gets a little bit closer, and obviously it's more of a season-long thing. But do you know, is the sellout streak going to be intact this week?
Hearing today, Bach, that I think it is. Now, Trev Alberts, the Nebraska AD, is on the radio tonight, statewide radio, and he'll, I imagine, address that. And I don't have, I guess the best I can do for you right now is I was hearing today that it's in good shape, and I think it'll continue for another game. So I think that'll be number 386.
Steve Sipple on 3, Husker Online, joining us right now. Sip, I just want to kind of dive into this, and it's a big word that we've been talking about too, and I know Mickey Joseph has talked about it too, the importance of this Indiana game. Just kind of want to get your thoughts and your perspective when you look at the rest of this season. I mean, for what it's worth, Nebraska this season, the start has been about as disastrous as possible. You're still 0-1 in the Big Ten, and you're playing an Indiana team that's also one of the worst in the Big Ten. How important is it this game this weekend?
Well, I mean, I always say, Nate, that every Nebraska game is big.
Right.
And every Nebraska game is big, especially if you lose. But this game is, I know we kind of keep saying these sorts of things, but I think it's gigantic in the context of what's happened and what could happen. I think if Nebraska is able to beat Indiana and then go on the road these next two games at Rutgers and Purdue and get one of those, so get two of the next three, I think you'll avert disaster largely. I think that these kids, these players, they need real confidence, not just Mickey pumping them up or Bill Bush pumping them up or whoever. They need results on the field against a Big Ten team, in front of their home fans, and to feel the fans' appreciation. I think it's huge. I think if you lose this game, there's just more of a danger of it unraveling. Now, I don't like to do that too much, as Jake knows. Jake Bachhoven knows this too, and Jake Sorensen, certainly my co-host, says. I kind of give people more credit than some people do, maybe. I don't think it's necessarily a situation where it would unravel if they don't win, but I think the chances increase, obviously. So, yeah, I think it's a huge game. And it's the other thing about it is Mickey addressed it today. Mickey Joseph, the interim head coach. I mean, this is his audition. He has an 8-game audition. Yeah. He has an 8-game interview, is the way he put it. Here we go. This is game 2. And so there's that storyline that's very intriguing for sure.
What do you think has to happen for Mickey to get a legitimate shot? Of course, I mean, we all kind of had our different ideas before the Oklahoma game. After the Oklahoma game, it's somewhat confusing because we all thought the program was close. They're losing all these close games, and that Oklahoma game happens. What do you think Mickey has to do to really get himself in the conversation? Is it a win total? Is it just the way the team looks?
Hey, Bach, I think it goes back to a bowl game, making a bowl game. I think if he would get them to 6 wins, I think that conversation would get pretty serious. And here's why it would get serious. Now, again, I don't know what Trev's thinking. I know Trev likes Mickey, and I know Trev will give him a fair shot. What the conversation will become about, if Mickey were to guide Nebraska to a win against Indiana, get one of these road games, and then maybe get them a few more wins and get them to a bowl game. It'll be about momentum and emotion. And it becomes a little bit, I think you got to kind of guard against those two things ruling the day in terms of a decision on that position. Now listen, if they do get to 6, Mickey will have proved a lot. And you have to assess it. You have to assess it very, very carefully. If not us, but if you're a Trev, you certainly do. But in that conversation will be a lot of emotion, that works in Mickey's favor, and a lot of momentum. And I don't know. And you got to be careful. You always are careful making decisions based on emotion in whatever you're doing. So. But I'll tell you what, it would get really interesting around here if Mickey's able to do that. Get him to 6, get him to 7. I mean, hey, Bach, if he gets him to 8, I'd just name him the head coach.
Yeah.
At that point, you might as well. Steve Sipple on 3, Husker Online, joining us right now. Said, break down Indiana for us a little bit. What should Husker fans expect this upcoming Saturday?
Well, Indiana is odd. They're odd. I mean, they run so many plays. They ran 104 plays against Cincinnati.
Wow.
That's what they do. I mean, they're a high volume offense. They really roll, and you really got to be ready and set. And that's not just a 1-game thing. I mean, they have one of the fastest tempo offenses in America. Wow. And it's not necessarily all that efficient, but they do run fast. They do run it fast. Connor Bazelak, their quarterback, who was at Missouri, he's a transfer, he threw it 66 times against Cincinnati. He threw it 55 times the week before. So they're going to air it out. That's what you're looking at. And you know what? Pretty good offense. I mean, again, not really efficient, but they have a guy named Cam Camper, big receiver, kind of typical Big Ten tough receiver, 6'2", 210, targeted 17 times against Cincy. I like their running back. He's a little guy, tough little runner, Sean Shivers, 5'7", 185, but he's tough. He's a tough kind of I like him. He'll cause Nebraska problems. I think he ran 17 times for 86 against Cincy. Their defense, a lot of people were saying, they don't play defense, etc. And they're 109th nationally in total defense. They're not great. But I watched that game against Cincy, and it was striking to me. Cincy couldn't run. They couldn't run the ball. They ran, I think, 30 times for 40 yards.
Wow. And
in the second half, listen, this is all in the context of Indiana being down 38-10, but in the second half, Cincinnati ran, I think, 36 plays for 82 yards. I mean, they didn't get anything going in the second half. Indiana has a better defense than Nebraska. That's why, again, I can't pick Nebraska. I think Indiana all around is better, and they won't be intimidated. Obviously, I mean, Georgia Southern came into Memorial Stadium in the night game and treated it like they were playing in a 7-on-7 tournament, and at Seacrest. I mean, it was nothing. So it doesn't feel like that atmosphere is affecting teams too much.
How much do you think that this switch in defensive coordinators, obviously this week, how much do you think that can change what this defense looks like, which has been borderline disastrous for Nebraska, both in the pass and the run game? But is this something that's salvageable 4 games in the season, or do you think that they're basically going to have to, rely on the offense more often than not?
Yeah, to what extent is it salvageable? That's a good question, Bach. It'll look different. Bill will try some different things. I mean, Mickey talked about it today. Bill will simplify. I mean, it's become pretty apparent that in the building they felt like Eric Chenander was probably trying to do too much in terms of calls pre-snap, trying to match personnel perfectly with what they were seeing on offense, and was being a little too precise. And the calls were coming in late at times. That explains some of the busts. They weren't getting their feet set. I mean, I know Bill has emphasized that behind the scenes is just little things like their feet weren't set at the snap a lot of the time. And you know what, if you're watching the game closely, you could see it. I was always kind of a little astounded at times by right at the snap, Nebraska had guys moving around, even if it was just small movements. It was, those things. That's what it's all about. I mean, the best defenders and the best defenses, if you watch them, they're very efficient in movement. You don't see a lot of excess. And what I was seeing from Nebraska was just too much excess pre-snap. So I think Bill will try to eliminate a lot of that. Simplification is the key word, and getting calls in on time. And there'll be fewer calls. That's Fulton Feast referred to that today, and I had talked to Bill about it last week. There'll be fewer calls now. So yeah, I think it'll look different now. Salvageable, we'll see on all that.
Sip, we know you're a busy man. You got lots of things to do, breaking down some more Nebraska, Indiana stuff. But if people want to get more great coverage from you, how can they do so?
Well, I just go to HuskerOnline.com. It's part of the On3 network. It's not really, there's a lot of people involved in that. And it's a Cadillac site. I mean, it's really good. I just go there. You go to Twitter, find me on Twitter. I don't even know what my handle is right now, but I don't even know. Just Steve Sipple will probably do it. You could probably find it from there.
Search it. Yeah, that sounds about right. Sip, we appreciate you as always. We'll talk to you next week.
Hey, thank you.
Have
Have a good one.
All right, sounds good. There you go.
At Steven_Sipple.
I was about to say, do we really?
I found it.
He goes, hey, just search me on Twitter.
You'll find me.
You'll find
Just
it.
Google me.
Hey, that's what happens when you're a big deal like Sip.
Oh,
You've been around town. You've been around the block a time or two. People know how to find you.
I can't imagine a Husker fan that doesn't know Steve Sipple. I haven't read his stuff.
There might not be Husker fans who follow him on Twitter, though. So go
Yeah.
ahead and give him a follow on Twitter. We'll talk to him. I said we'll talk to him next week, but we'll also talk to him at the Ticket Tailgate pregame show live from Tipsy Tina. So he always starts it out with Jake Sorensen as well. So we'll have all of that great coverage, as we always do over there at Tipsy Tina's. Always a great time. Make sure you check him out. But we got to take a quick break. DP is in studio, as is Jay Foreman. We're going to have them on. We're going to have a little crossover with the guys from Old School. Break down some more Nebraska, Indiana coming up next. Stay with us on the block. 93.7 The Ticket.
My advance out and move to Oklahoma and just live in my aunt's house. Yeah, I romance the thought of leaving it all behind.
Hopcat exists at the intersection of great beer and delicious food, complemented by music, art, community, and comfort. Home to a best-in-class beer experience served by craft beer experts, guests can expect a casual, inviting local gathering place with some of the best damn burgers and fries you'll find in Lincoln. There is no better place to watch any Nebraska game other than the 50-yard line at Memorial Stadium. Hopcat is located at 6th and P in the Haymarket. To plan your next trip to Hopcat, visit www.hopcat.com.
Hi, this is Kurt, your shop manager at A1 Automotive here in downtown Lincoln. My promise to you is this: you won't find another automotive repair facility that genuinely cares about you and your vehicle. Our service is outstanding and our customer service is better. Please give me a call for all your automotive repair questions and needs. Call me at 402-477-4660. We were built on small town values, and that shows in how we treat others. A1 Automotive, always honest answers.
It's time again for Lincoln's Best Oktoberfest, the 7th annual Piedmont Oktoberfest, October 8th from 5 to 11 p.m. Enjoy dozens of beers, amazing local food, live music, costume contests, Stein holding contests, yodeling, and more, with tickets starting at only $33. Live music by the B Street Band, provided by Aloe Fiber, and safe rides home, provided by Z-Trip and the Nebraska Department of Transportation Highway Safety Office. Get your tickets today at the shops@piedmont.com. Use promo code The Ticket to receive 10% off your complete order. It's the Piedmont Oktoberfest. The shops at Piedmont.com.
Casey's General Stores is giving away 2 tickets to each Nebraska football home game this season. To enter, just head to any Casey's General Store location in Lincoln during the football season, scan the QR code at the front counter, and fill out the online form. One winner will be chosen at random 2 days before that week's game. So head over to Casey's, stock up on all your tailgating snacks and drinks, and register to win 2 tickets to a Nebraska football game, brought to you by Casey's General Store and 93.7 The Ticket.
There's a lot of realtors in Lincoln, but don't get overwhelmed by all the names. Ben Bleicher with Professional Realtor Group at Berkshire Hathaway Ambassador Real Estate is your go-to option when buying or selling residential and commercial property. Ben's team offers unbeatable customer service and promises to make the buying and selling process as stress-free as possible. Call Ben today at 402-419-6309 for all your real estate needs. Ben Bleicher with Professional Realty Group at Berkshire Hathaway Ambassador Real Estate. No pressure, just professionalism.
Gaina Trucking is hiring CDL Class A and B drivers. Gaina Trucking guarantees a 40-hour work week year-round, and their strong team culture makes it not a job, but a career. Gaina Trucking offers health, vision, and dental insurance, 401k with company match, an employee assistance program, and other bonus programs. Build a better career today with great team culture at Gaina Trucking. Learn more and apply today at GainaTrucking.com.
Hey, it's Nicklin Hames from Nebraska Volleyball. I hate wasting time in practice, and I want to help you stop wasting your time when you're looking for an electrician. High Electric has been serving the area for over 30 years for both residential and commercial properties. They are experts in everything like remodeling, new additions, hot tub installation, and more. And they take jobs from Beatrice to Omaha and all towns, big or small, in between. Call them today at 402-466-6606 or learn more at high-electric.com.
Your home should not be a zoo to unwelcomed animals. Let the experts at Bats to Rats take care of those problems. Dane has been a leader in wildlife and pest management and prevention in Lincoln and the surrounding area for 15 years. He can help you get rid of bats, rodents, and anything else. Whether it's residential or commercial buildings, schools, apartments, or churches, they're always a phone call away. Call today at 402-310-0904 or visit batstoRats.com. Bats to Rats Wildlife Control and Prevention.
If you need to sell equipment and trucks, Ritchie Brothers' new Lincoln Satellite Yard lets you free up space at your property and get local access to all Ritchie Brothers auctions. Drop your equipment off and sell it online at any Ritchie Brothers auction, Iron Planet, or via Marketplace E. The yard is at 8801 US 6 Lincoln. It's secure and makes for easy in-person buyer inspections and pickup. Take advantage of this yard to sell at Ritchie Brothers Great Plains Regional Auction, September 15th and 16th. For details, visit rbauction.com/Lincoln.
Back to On the Block with Strick and Nate on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Back here for the final segment on the block. I am Nate Brennan. He is Jake Bachman. He's been joining me all day. Eric Strickland had a little bit of a sabbatical over there in New York. Got to catch some good football over there for Monday night. Unfortunately for DP, there was not 2 losses in the game, but the Giants ultimately were the team that did come down with the loss. 402-464-5685, Honda Lincoln Hotline, Starter Name and Text Line. You can also check us out, see what's going on right here in the studio on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, and Twitter. If you head over to YouTube, give us a like, give us a subscribe, give us a share. Help us out. Our new goal is now 3,000 subscribers. We want to give a shout out to all of you for helping us get to 2,000. Awesome stuff. Great stuff. Well done, as usual, from all of you. Jake Bachman, Derek Pearson, DP. What's going on, guys? How we doing today?
I'm not acknowledging lack of double losses last night.
I know.
I can only speak of the Giants losing. The evil empire gets zero credit in this space.
Zero.
Even backup quarterbacks?
I don't
Cooper
care.
Rush.
I like backup quarterback stories no matter when I see them.
I don't care. I don't care. You're a backup quarterback. Go sit in your corner. Grab a clipboard there, buddy.
I don't even know. How long is Dak Prescott out? Is he
said
back
he was
this
going to play
season?
next week. He told.
He said
Really?
next
Wow.
week.
He told. See, this
Cooper's playing too well.
He told Jerry Jones. Well, that's a big part of it too. But he actually said it before the game that he thought he was throwing well enough and just goofing around on the field. He told Jerry that he thought that he might, with the extra time, that he might be able to get this thing done. I'm thinking, a week around, but again, no credit for you. I want him to come back before the finger's ready. A couple extra unnecessary throws, and then one finger to the helmet. That's all I'm talking.
Yeah, see what happens. I'll ask you this, DP, from a coach's perspective, how much pressure does that really put on the starting quarterback? Because, like Bach said, Cooper Rush has looked pretty good. Like,
if everything is as you say it is, you don't worry about it.
Okay.
Right. So if you're the franchise guy, you're the face of the franchise.
Right.
If that's true and it's legitimate, it shouldn't matter. It shouldn't matter because you just go back to work and you're better than the dude that you're supposed to be better than. But it's Dallas. So a part of me wants to whisper chaos into the space, right? A part of
the
me
same thing happened to Dak Prescott with Tony Romo because Tony Romo was the
that's
guy
how
and he took his
that's,
ride.
that's how it happens.
Right,
That's how it happens. It happened with Kaepernick. It happened. Like there's several quarterbacks.
Mark Bulger.
Yeah, where that happens, right?
Yeah.
Where you go back to Kurt Warner, and guys like Trent
Dilfer. That's right. Yeah,
comes in.
Yeah.
Trent Green also came in.
Or Trent Green. That was what it was.
After another injury with the
Phillip
Rams.
Rivers took over Drew Brees' job.
Gus Farrat. There's a ton of guys who accidentally give up. I mean, the great Fitz has been the poster boy for the backup guy, just kind of lingering and hanging out until the next thing there. So let's give the ID. We'll keep getting into this space. We can go a little deeper.
This is Lincoln's home for sports talk on the FM dial. Also online at theticketfm.com. On the internet. KNTK FM Firth. 93.7 The Ticket.
But yeah, and the thing is too, a big part of it, like you said, DP, wouldn't it be so Cowboys? To just be like,
they find a way.
Cooper Rush, give him a shot.
They find a way to make chaos where there's just no reason for chaos. Like there's no reason. Like you're the most talented team in the entire NFC. Like
I'd agree
player
with
for
that.
player,
Yeah.
position for position. Then you marry a coach who really wasn't the guy, right? But you did it so brilliantly that people were kind of like, well, maybe Jerry's right. Maybe Jason Garrett is the guy. Like,
For 10 years to see if he is.
Yeah, he's a future Hall of Famer. Like, let's go give this guy credit. and then you go get a guy that doesn't fit the mold. McCarthy doesn't. He just doesn't fit. But hey, let's square peg this thing round hole all the way, right? So again, the guy who doesn't root for the evil empire, I giggle all the time at Dallas. Thank you very much for the entertainment. Thanks for the entertainment. I appreciate it. Now go lose games that you shouldn't lose. And perfectly. Monday Night Football, they show up, look at the schedule at the next game, and just look for the opportunity for it to go horribly, horribly wrong.
Yeah.
So, yeah, let it happen.
What do you think, Bach?
Are you used to? I mean, yeah, I'm on board for
I know
Cooper
you're
Rush.
pro Cooper
Are you
Rush.
used to all the switching in the broadcast? But some people, most fans probably don't care. But Aikman and Buck on a Monday night, it's kind of weird watching them on ESPN.
Not really.
No, you're used to it already.
No, I don't care.
Yeah.
I mean, look, if you're contributing, you're contributing. But I don't get married to, I didn't get caught up in the whole Romo is broadcast God thing. I don't buy into it. I don't get it. Oh, he knows every play that's coming. I don't know. That's called being an NFL quarterback.
Yeah, he played in the NFL for 12 years.
Look, they're lining up in a thing that can only result in a couple of plays. Take your shot. That's what tendencies are. Hey,
Greg Olson's been doing that too.
Olson. I mean, but that's what you should be doing.
Right.
If you're a qualified NFL analyst, that's what it is. Same for college football. When you've got former coaches who sit up and just go, oh, okay. That's like me not asking Jay Foreman what the next play is. When you listen to them do high school sports with Nick, Jay's calling the plays. There's only a certain number of things that high school teams are going to put in a playbook. And Jay's going, I've only seen this 8,000 times.
Right.
So this is what the play is.
Yeah, I guess I get used to it too. Madden would jump around everywhere. I don't know. Just some people, especially Joe Buck, it's like, when I see Joe Buck, I think Fox.
Well, the thing that I'm kind of with DP that it doesn't bother me which network as much. The one thing I don't like is Kirk Herbstreit doing NFL games.
You don't like that?
Now that doesn't.
He's
a college guy.
I love it because I'm more of a college guy, and he always gets his little college football stuff in there. He's always like he's coming from a college football thing, and I'm going. That's how I'm thinking about this game.
Well, but I'm okay with. See, I'm okay with that too because Kirk, what Kirk gives you is all of the information that he's just been stockpiling about guys before they get to the NFL.
Yeah.
And it's okay. Here's what I've seen from this guy in 8 big time games. Because Kirk's not seeing the tidy bowl. He's watching
doing
these
the
guys,
big game every
like
week.
he's getting the best players in the best
Yeah.
situation.
Yeah.
So when Kirk sees them, tendencies matter. Tendencies matter.
Yeah.
Like he was talking about Tua. It was like, listen, you say what you want about hating Tua, but I don't know. That dude's been in the factory.
Yeah.
So the likelihood that he continues to go downhill was limited. Well, he was absolutely right. He's like, listen, Tua, given talent around him, becomes the same version of Tua that was at Alabama. So,
That's fair.
Shocking that this guy all of a sudden rallies and happens. It's the same thing. So I'm cool with analysts as long as you're authentic. Kirk's not trying to be any other version.
Yeah.
Romo is just kind of like this is like and it sells.
It's his personality.
It sells for a portion of so be that version of you. I'm cool with it. That's why I like Madden because Madden was ultimately between bites of the hot dog and sips of the beer, I'm gonna give you gospel. Like that's and I was cool with it.
It was awesome.
Yeah.
Well, but before we go and we'll flip it over to old school, are you a fan of the Manning cast?
Yes.
I love the Manning cast.
Preferred Monday Night Football viewing. Like to me,
I agree.
Well, because they say the stuff that the guys on the mothership aren't going to say.
Yeah.
The flagship's not going to go to the corners of the earth that the Mannings will go to. And the Mannings will slip up every now and then and give you a nugget that they're not supposed to give you. And
authentic.
Right. And I can wait 3 hours before Eli gives you the one thing that he's not supposed to give you, but it was chef's kiss good. Like he will tell you, that guy sucks. Oh, you're not supposed to say that, Eli.
I thought we were a commercial. Yeah.
So it's preferred viewing for me.
Bach?
I still like the traditional booth. I can catch the Manning highlights because anything they say that's controversial or good, it spreads over the internet very quickly. I guess I'm more traditional. I just like the traditional booth guys.
I guess I like the traditional. I will say, and we have a couple texters saying Greg Olson's great. Greg Olson is pretty good. He's
sharp.
got a good personality.
Sharp.
His personality is
sharp.
really good
And it's
too.
like he just came from hunting and decided to talk football.
Yeah,
like he
football.
just came off the mountains, out of the trees, took off the cargo. Let's get it.
That's a good way to put it.
I still know Greg from his rapping days at Miami. He can't trick me.
Oh yes, nice. Oh,
But
good
that's
shot.
That's why it worked.
That's
why it
awesome.
worked.
That's awesome. That'll do it for us today on the block. For myself, Nate Brennan, for Jake Bachman. We will see you tomorrow. Still no strict. The guys on Old School. They'll break down Nebraska, Indiana. Coming up next. Stay with us right here. 93.7 The Ticket.
If you need to sell equipment